my first year in Austin, I was supposed to go to ACL, and I did go. I was going with my buddy Tom, and I haven't told this story in a while, so let me try to recall the details.
Yeah, no,
I
you're
think
good.
the morning of, we said we would call each other and set up a time to meet, and I called him, got voicemail, and so I was ready to go. I'm sitting on my chair, just like dicking around, no pun intended.
Yeah.
And I, I'm on
Uh,
Instagram, and I see that he had posted to his story, and he was already there. And
Oh,
I was
really?
like, motherfucker, didn't even tell me. So I jump in my car, I head over, I get through security, I get into the event, and he calls me, and I pick up, and I'm like, hey, where are you? And he says, I'm at home watching football. And I said, I saw you posted at the last concert already, though. You're not here? And he said, no, that was something I recorded last night that I threw up this morning from yesterday's event. And I was like, when are you getting here? And he's like, not for another 4 hours. And so I was like, well, I could either leave and go hang out at his place, but then it'll be significantly busier and it'll be a pain in the butt to get back in.
100%.
Or I could stay and I could walk around and try to find guests for the podcast and just like check out some shows. And long story short, I ended up leaving before he even arrived. And
Wow.
I don't like big crowded events. When I was your age and in my 20s, I loved that kind of thing.
Of course.
But now that I'm an old man, I much more prefer, let's just have like 5 friends over to my place or head out to the me and some friends went to the comedy club on Friday night, and
Nice.
that is much more my mood.
Chill, more so.
More
yeah,
chill.
a little more chill.
Yeah.
I got you. Yeah. That is the trouble though with big events too. Like if I get there, I'm always one to get there early. No one else wants to get there early, but I'm like, guys, it's so much easier. No one's gonna be there. We can get good parking and then I don't want to leave because I have such a good spot. I might not even want to be there anymore, but I'm just like, well, I have such a good spot right now. I cannot leave.
Yes.
And so like there is a little bit of problem with that, but
You know what part of it was too? The last concert that I went to at ACL was it may have been I'm probably going to butcher his name. Hosier?
Hosier, yeah.
Whatever, however you say it. And I got there early because I wasn't really invested in any of the bands that year. I was more going just because I just moved to Austin. I'd never been, so I was like, let's just go for fun.
Yeah.
And so I got to the Hosier stage like an hour early, and so I was up front. And when the concert started, I remember I looked behind me and just saw this army of humans, and was like,
massive
if
amount
I
of
need to
people.
immediately use the bathroom, like if I just get this urge to piss, that's not going to be so easy.
It's not going to work out. Yeah, exactly. Like,
So I ended up leaving because I got anxious. I was just like, I need to go. I all of a sudden don't want this front row seat anymore.
Wow. You just got anxiety about the whole thing. Like, if I need to get out of here quick, I'm not getting out of here. Like, that makes sense. I'm saying bathroom anxiety. That's one of the worst anxieties, man. You got to watch out for that.
Bathroom anxiety, yes.
It really is.
I'm going to lower this. Just a little bit and
We need to.
go like that. Just
Hello?
so the camera can pick up that handsome face. Can you still hear yourself okay?
Yeah, I can hear myself just fine.
You
Can
hesitated
you hear
a little
me?
bit.
Well, I'm just trying to make sure. I'm not used to hearing my own voice back at me, so it's hard to say. How's that? Can you hear me well on your end? Like, is
Very
everything
well.
okay? Okay, then yeah, I think I can hear myself through here, so we should be fine.
It's a little weird, huh?
It is a little weird.
You'll forget about it within 5 minutes, I promise.
Okay. Because I'm gonna say like your voice always sounds different when you hear it back, and I'm like, what? Is that me? Like that sounds like me? That doesn't make sense. I'm not big on like recording myself, filming myself on the regular basis, so I'm like I never hear my own voice, so it almost feels like a stranger is talking back to me, saying my own words, and I'm like, what the hell is happening? A handsome stranger, a good sounding stranger, but like I'm like, who is this guy in my ear?
One of my buddies came over on Friday night before the comedy show. We drove together, and I was editing his episode. He came on the pod a week ago, and when I opened the door, I still had it running in the background. And as soon as I opened the door, he like paused for a second, and he heard his own voice. He's like, "Dude, turn that off." Like I don't
want to
wanna
hear that. Yeah. Who is that guy? That guy sounds annoying. I don't like that guy. Like, why is he talking like that? Like, what the hell is that? Yeah.
This idiot.
100%. Guy sounds like a jerk. I don't like that guy. Like, yeah, 100%. 100%. That does interest me, actually. Are we? Are we recording right now? Like, are we recording the pod? Just so I understand, or are we testing right now?
It is recording. I don't
Okay.
know that this will necessarily be in the episode,
Okay,
but
just
I will
wondering.
play the music, read an intro I wrote for you, and we'll have an official start in a second. But
Okay, awesome. I was afraid. I was like, did we start already? And I didn't know. But I actually, as you as a podcaster, I had a question. Like, when you have to edit and record these, how are you with hearing yourself? Like, I know a lot of people will do things and record themselves and then not want to see themselves on camera. How do you like feel about that? Do you like watching yourself, or is it kind of a stressful thing to have to go back and edit yourself? Like, how does that like work for you?
episode 1 was awful.
I
It
imagine
felt
so.
very like narcissistic
Mhm.
almost,
Mhm.
but I had to do it.
Yeah,
You
of
know,
course.
there was some things that needed to be fixed.
Mhm.
Now that I've done it over 170 times,
Yeah.
it doesn't bother me
you're
anymore.
kind of
It's
you're kind of
it's
dead to it
whatever.
now. You're
Yeah.
like you've accustomed to it. That makes sense. Cause I know, yeah, like a lot of celebrities and stuff, they'll not watch their own movies or read their own books or none of that. So like, I didn't know how it felt for you, who had to like listen to yourself all day, but to edit this kind of thing.
I know
Mm-hmm.
for you, same question,
Mm-hmm.
because I feel like 50% of the people that come on the show,
Yeah.
they almost feel like they have to listen. They almost want to double check to make sure. Did I
Yes.
say anything silly while I was on there? And then
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
50% of the people, they cringe at the thought of hearing their own
Mm.
voice, and they
Yeah.
say, no, just put it. I don't care what you do with it. I'm never going to listen to it.
Yeah.
Just do your thing. Which camp do you think you fall into?
I'm definitely on the listening side because I think it's because both don't do it very often. So when I do, it's very exciting. Like, I'm definitely gonna go back and listen to this podcast because I'm like, oh, this is exciting. I've never done this before. And but I think a lot of it just goes into self-image and how you feel about yourself. Like, some people have, like, even if it's deep down, little self-loathing, a little, like, they almost think it's like I need to be humble and not like to hear my voice. It's almost like, like in society you're not supposed to like love the sound of your voice. But I 100%, like I said, I don't do it often, but I do like to, like when I have fights and stuff, I love to rewatch the fights. When I have any sort of interview, I rewatch the interview, and I genuinely kind of just, I like myself, so I like watching myself a little bit,
Hell
That's
yeah,
kind of how it
dude. I'm
goes.
glad you like yourself.
100, you know what?
Not
I'm glad
everyone
too.
does.
I
I didn't
know.
like myself for a phase of life, so
Don't get me wrong, there might be a phase where that changes, but right now we appreciate ourselves, so
yeah,
that's
you're
good.
young. Give it a
Yeah.
few years. You'll
I
hate
was like,
yourself
yeah, I
eventually. No,
know.
I'm kidding. I'm
No,
kidding.
100%. We'll hit 25 and I'll be like, it's downhill. We don't like ourselves anymore, but we'll see. We'll
It is
see.
different with fighting though, because for
Mhm.
that, I imagine you're almost studying it because you're looking for things you did right and things you did wrong,
Oh,
right?
100%. 100%. There's like there's so many different ways you have to rewatch a fight. Like because it's practical too. Like, you have to rewatch the fight to see, okay, what you do wrong, what you did right. And shout out to a couple people at our gym who are, professional fighters, and they tell you about these things. And I'll shout them out on the podcast when we're live so they can get a proper shout out. But you have to rewatch it as like a different person every time. One time you have to watch it as, okay, I'm the positive guy. I'm gonna see everything I did good, and I'm gonna take that in. Next, you have to be the negative guy. You gotta watch, all right, what did I do? Like, shit, what was horrible? I sucked at this. I sucked at that. Then you gotta watch it objectively as just a third person who's just looking at it. So like, there's so many different ways you have to look at it, but I always tend towards the positive. I'm always like, okay, I did good at this. I didn't suck at this. I'm okay. And I think you kind of need that as well going forward. Like, if you always are getting down on yourself, you're not going to be fighting for very long because you're always going to do something wrong, and you got to acknowledge that and figure out how to do it better, how to fix it. But positivity is really what's going to, keep you fighting at the end of the day, for sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I
100%.
that's same for editing the podcast too.
Yeah.
Just in my the as I'll probably reference this a few times.
Yeah.
Sorry,
No, you're
but
good.
in the episode I just did with my buddy John, there's a few
Mhm.
times where actually there is one specific moment where
Mhm.
he started to say something
Yeah.
and I interrupted him and I gave my own thought, which is strange
Yeah.
for me. I don't interrupt people that often.
You don't seem like the type. You seem like let him talk and then you jump in type deal. But you interrupted him on this one. You had something to say.
I did, and I
Okay.
sort of regret it because when I heard it in the
Mhm.
editing, I thought, please, John, please bring up whatever your thought was when I finally shut up and let you talk.
Oh,
And
I
we ended
see.
up just naturally digressing down a different conversation.
Got you.
But now the next time we hang out almost every Friday or Saturday.
Nice.
Next weekend when we hang out, I almost want to play him the part when I interrupted him. Be like, can you remember what you were going to say here? Even though it's not going to be on the podcast,
Because you're
I just want to
interested.
know.
Yeah.
I'm interested.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You want to hear what he was going to say, and then you feel bad because you're like, damn it, it could have been something awesome what he was about to say. I don't know what it was. Ah, man, that makes sense. Well, you know, again, that's like one of the things in fighting where you do something crappy, you're just like, I just got to accept that and I got to do better on the
Why?
next one, you know? Like, why did I do that in the moment? I don't know why. It looked horrible. I don't know why I thought that was a good idea, but, you know, you just got to accept it and kind of move on, you know?
Yeah,
That's how it
you've
goes.
just been kicking it since 2019. Let's just keep it going.
Have. I wore this shirt on purpose because I feel like it represents Texas and my gym at the same time. And plus, everything looks good on me, but it looks good. So, you know, everything it does. But, you know, so I didn't have to put too much thought. But, you know, it's one of my favorite ones. Limited edition from our gym. So I thought I would represent just a little bit passively the gym.
I like it. I would
Thank
try
you.
to steal it from you, but I don't know how to fight, and you do. So you'd probably win, and I don't want to get beat up today.
Probably
so
would.
you'll
Well,
be
it
keeping
would.
that shirt on your back.
It
my
would be
friend.
good content for the podcast. It would. It would be
If I
good.
just
You
throw
just attack
myself,
me.
jump out of my chair mid-episode.
It's like 5 minutes of scrambling, and we go off camera, we pop back on. Next thing you know, I just got you in like a choke. We're like, what is happening?
It would
Man,
make for a very
That would
very
get some
good
clips.
short on
Yeah,
YouTube.
100%. You would get some fame from that.
Podcast gone wrong.
Because then
When-
you have spin-off podcasts where you got to apologize for the last podcast. You got to talk about what happened. And then you got to bring me back on so we can figure it out because we got beef now. You know, there's a lot of stuff that you could go off of that, you know?
Yes.
100%.
I did have a MMA fighter on from 10th Planet about a year ago, and at one point in the beginning of the episode, he was like, "Damn, I'm pretty nervous right now," and I'm like,
Yeah.
"Dude, you could literally kill me. I should be the nervous one. Why? What are you nervous for?"
That's the crazy thing about fighters is they don't understand sometimes what they have because they're so humble about it, and the fighting gets that into them. You're like, yeah, I have to almost, that brings me confidence sometimes because I have to actually tap into that. That's not natural. I gotta be like, well, wait a minute, why are you've been in a cage where someone tried to kill you?
Yes.
Like you can do this. Like you're just going to go talk to somebody real quick, you know? But like it's still like it's something you're not used to. So a little bit of nerves, a little bit of anxiety, all that stuff makes sense.
I also did find out post-recording that he was high as fuck, so that
Ah.
that could have played into it.
That
as-
might have been a factor.
Just a little bit.
That might have been a small part, just a little bit. Do you, because I only watch one or two, do you talk to a lot of fighters? Do you bring a lot of fighters on the show?
I
Or
had
people
Andy,
that fight?
CJ, Andrew,
Mm-hmm.
Arian.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you've had a couple.
There have been 4
Okay.
at least. And for any that are maybe listening to this and I forgot, I'm sorry, but when you talk to 170 people, it happens.
Yeah, it's a lot of people.
There
yeah,
have
no
been at
problem.
least one more, maybe 2. But
Okay.
I've had a few fighters on. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I always like listening to fighters, like not exclusively, but they have such a different outlook, especially depending what level they're on, whether they're pro or they're like experienced amateurs or whatnot. They just have a different like vibe than, you know, people when you get to really talking to them and what they're passionate about, you know. I do think they have like more a humble outlook on life a lot
Yes.
of times. Not all of them. Some people will have egos and that's how they get by, but a lot of them have a lot more like you wouldn't think they were fighters in everyday lives. Like they could be pros and you're like, oh, that guy seemed kind of timid and just kind of normal. He seemed even nervous. Like what the hell was that about? But then you realize, oh, he's had like 7 cage matches. He's like 7-0 and you're like, what the hell? Where did that come from? So I love like the juxtaposition between like, okay, they seem like a normal guy. Then you see their Instagram posts. You're like, what the hell? I was talking to this guy
This
like
guy's
2
a
seconds ago.
killer.
Exactly,
Yeah.
you know? And he could have murdered me and I had no idea, you know? So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, they are very peaceful.
100%.
Not to say that anyone that's come on here is a nervous wreck per se,
Yeah.
but they are just very they're laid back, they're casual, they show up in sweatpants,
They do,
ask for a
yeah.
Dr. Pepper. We're just sort of
100%.
hanging out on a Sunday morning for a little bit.
Yeah,
It's no big
definitely.
deal.
It's
They're
chill,
just
you know?
calm.
Yeah, definitely, you know, and they're more open to stuff. They're like you said, let's do a podcast. I'm like, that sounds awesome. Let's just do it, you know? There was no second thought about it. I was like, that just sounds
Yes.
cool. Let's do a podcast, 100%. What is your rule with, can I sip and talk? Is that
You can
okay?
sip and talk. If we need to
Okay.
take a bathroom break at any point, we can do that. You
Mm-hmm.
can curse. Do you curse? I noticed you haven't yet today.
Fuck no. I hate fucking cursing.
Best
what the hell are you talking
response
about?
ever.
It's a fucking clean podcast, man. Get your shit out of here.
This is the Christians Are Us
Yeah,
podcast.
yeah.
We're good people.
We are good Christian people over here.
We don't ever fucking
We
curse.
don't fucking curse all the time. God, the fact that you even fucking bring that up makes me fucking mad. Jesus.
Not calm anymore.
I'm gonna have to start praying and shit now. I'm gonna have to repent. Look at what you made me do. Man,
Look at what I
look at what you made me do. You did
do.
this. This is
I
your
opened
fault.
a can of
You
worms.
did. You did. Now I'm just gonna. All my Christian friends are gonna see this, and it's gonna be terrible. It's gonna be horrible. I don't want to do this podcast anymore.
Exposed.
I know.
Dr. Dickerson.
Exactly. I'm gonna get canceled now. It's gonna be terrible. Oh my god. It's ridiculous. I'm not gonna be able to go see anybody anymore. People are gonna be like, "Why were you fucking cursing all over the?" And then they're gonna get it too, man.
They're gonna get it.
They're gonna be like, well, "Yeah, exactly. We're all gonna get it now." God's he's up there. He's watching us, man. He's looking at us right now. There's a lightning bolt coming our way. We gotta watch out. So no, I don't fucking curse.
Okay.
Man, that was a long form version of saying that.
Best answer to that question ever.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Let's get into it, man.
Let's get into it.
I forget what the intro. I might have skipped the intro when I was looking at the episode. I forget what you do.
What?
Well.
No, I'm kidding. I actually, I've debated between telling people like it's almost mandatory they should listen to one, but there's also a side of me where I want to tell people don't listen to any of it, because sometimes there's some things that come up and you get pleasantly surprised as we're recording because you don't expect it. And I'm almost leaning towards telling people, if you want to be a super fan after recording, listen to as many as you want. But before we come on, don't you fucking dare.
Don't you look.
Don't look it up.
Man.
Don't listen to anything.
I got you. Yeah, I almost tried to do like the, what do you call it, like teaser trailer version of watching this podcast. Like I didn't want to watch the whole thing, but I wanted to like at least understand like parts of it. So I was kind of like skipping around through the episode, just hitting the skip button here, there. So I got parts of it, but like I said, I missed the intro, this, that. So I'm like, probably gonna be pleasantly surprised by some stuff, but I kind of understand what it is. Like that's kind of what I was going for.
Now I'm mad again because you skipped Cole Nevins.
I did.
He's just spitting mad genius hacks at doing life, and you're just let's just fast forward through this.
He was saying some smart stuff, man, but at the same time, I was like, you know, he's been saying some smart stuff for a while. Let's go ahead and let's get some other. It was
only an hour long. It was a short episode.
Hey, man, I'm very young. I have short attention spans. You know, I don't have time to be watching all this smart stuff. I got to get little increments of smart.
You got to get back to beating people up.
Yeah, I was about to go spar. I was like, all right. I was in the car like at work because I drive for work like 20 minutes each way. And I was listening to it in the car, so I only had 40 minutes total. So I was like, I think it was like an hour. So I only missed like 20 minutes. I missed like 20 minutes, and then I was kind of skipping around in between there. So I got the majority of it, but you know, I'm not an academic, so I'm always looking for like the entertaining stuff. So don't get me wrong, he was very smart, and I learned a lot of smart stuff. But I was also my silly brain was like, well, when's it gonna get funny? Where's the funny part?
You should have listened to one of the most recent episode I did with some comedians. That one was it was a shit show, dude. Before we even hit record, we laughed for 3 hours straight. And to your point, we weren't on mic yet. I don't even know what we talked about. It was just 3 hours of fucking nonsense.
That's sometimes the best stuff, too. You're like, I don't even know what happened, but like it was awesome, whatever it was, 100%.
One of them told a story about how he saw this Asian guy who got drunk on beers with raw eggs in them, and so he tried to do his own version of the episode, and then got so drunk that he didn't show up to work the next day and almost got fired. And
Dang.
It was a good episode. It was very fun.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm gonna give that a listen right after this one. I guess I'll listen to that one, and then I'll listen to this one whenever it comes out. That'll be exciting.
Whenever you got 3 hours. Yeah, Jared and Kyler, shout out to them. They're good guys.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. Actual like professional comedians?
More open mic comedians.
Open mic, got you.
They're where you are in fighting is where they're at in comedy.
Got you. Okay, that makes sense. Oh, doesn't matter to me, man. Funny people are funny people. It doesn't matter what level they're on. They could be hilarious. I mean, and they might not even be comics. I love people that are just funny. Naturally, anytime. But let's get started, man. I feel like you're stalling. You feel like
No, I'm not stalling. I'm just going with the flow, baby.
Okay, gotcha.
We're having good conversation. I'm going to include all this in the episode. I think and the audience is going to tune in to the first 10 minutes or however long we'll be here and be like, who is this? What is this about? But that's okay. They can be confused.
They can be a little confused. Yeah, 100%. Is there a way to edit out all the fucks and the shit? Can we edit out the curses?
Now you're stalling.
I am stalling. You're right. Let me take another sip of my Dr. Pepper.
Do you actually want me to edit those out? Because I thought that was hilarious.
No, you can leave those in.
Okay, I
That's
was
fine.
gonna say you just added
Mm.
so much work to my
Mm.
plate. I'll do it because I want you to be
I
comfortable.
wanted to see you
but
get nervous. Like, wait, you
I've
actually
done this
you want me to do it?
170 times. I'm not. I'm not
I'm
nervous.
trying to see if I can make you nervous. Like, how much work can I make you do by the end of the episode? You know, are there ever episodes where you're like, oh my god, I'm gonna have to do so much editing after this? Like,
There was only one, and it was because when the episode came out, he didn't like the title, the show notes, everything that was done like on the surface. He called me and he was like, "Can you change all of this?" And I remember
ah,
I had plans that Saturday, and I was like, "Well, one, let me think about it. Two, can
yeah.
I do this tomorrow?" And he was
Mhm.
like, "I'd be really uncomfortable if this was out here like this for
Mm.
24 hours." And I'm just like, "Dude,
You're like,
you're
dang,
killing me right now."
that's a lot you're asking me to do right now. Like, yeah.
I almost
Dang.
wanted to fall back on the contract I had you sign, which I understand that if someone was to actually sue me, that little
Yeah.
disclaimer probably wouldn't hold up in court.
Yeah,
But I almost wanted
100%.
to pull like the move of like, dude, I don't know, this is my property, I can do with it what I want. But
100%.
I'm
Yeah.
sometimes too nice of a person and maybe a little bit of a. I don't think I'm
Yeah.
a pushover, but at the same time, I want you comfortable. So the fact that he
100%.
said I would be uncomfortable, I was just
I
like,
got
fuck,
you.
god damn it.
Now you feel like a terrible person if you do, because
Yes.
you're like, oh, I'll be uncomfortable. You're like, well, dang it, you're trying to make me a bad person, is what you're trying to do, man. Because it was just like, oh, it's terrible. I'm the same way, man. Like, I'll feel like I'm almost too nice, and that's one of the things I enjoy about myself. At the same time, I'm like, should I be a little bit like more rude? Because like I say yes to everything, I'm nice to everything, even when it's like I'm kind of like feel a little put out by it, and I'm like, well, but they're gonna feel bad, so I'm like, I better just do whatever that is, you know. So like, I struggle with the same thing where it's like, you know, do you ever like, you know, have moments where you try and turn that off, where you're like, okay, I'm really nice. Oh, this is a moment where I can't do that, and how uncomfortable does that make you?
It depends who it is.
Okay.
With my my inner circle,
Mhm.
and if I try to do a good job about just like being easygoing and going
Yeah.
with the flow, and then
100%.
like even yeah, I try to just do what's best for them.
Yeah.
If it's a stranger, I might just be like, dude.
Oh, fuck
We're-
them, bro. Yeah, you
there-
don't know them.
There is a guy recently who you might like this story. He asked
Yeah.
me if I would help him out and go through. He was like, "Dude, David, you got a really big chest. Would you do a chest workout with me and like show me the ropes?"
Yeah.
And so I said, "Sure."
Yeah.
And during the workout, dude, he just complained the entire time. He was like, "This workout hurts my palm." I was like, "What are you talking about?" And then on the next workout, he's like, "Oh, my elbow really hurts on this one." And then on the next workout, he was like, "We're doing another chest workout." And I was like, "Well, yeah, we're only about 75% of the way through the
Yeah,
workout."
yeah.
And then on the next workout, he said he was like, "Oh, David, is there a correlation between working out and your balls hurting? Because my left nut is really starting to swell up." And at that point, I was like, "What the fuck are
What
you
the
talking?
hell is
You've been
happening?"
complaining for 45 minutes." Like,
Wow.
and that one, so that was a moment where Mean David came out,
snapped
and I
a
was
little
like,
bit.
"Dude,
You're
stop
like-
being a little pussy." Like this
Exactly,
isn't
yeah.
even this. You asked me for and he was questioning me. I'm like, "You're like 120 pounds soaking wet. You don't
Yeah,
work
yeah.
out. You don't go to the gym.
Yeah.
You go home every night after work and you game for hours. And you're finally doing something good with your life. And
Yeah.
you've asked me to help you. And now that you're not listening
And
to
now
me,
you're
I
complaining
was
the whole time.
I was legitimately that was the 1st time in 2026 I got
Yeah.
very upset and I was just like,
Man.
"Shut up and listen."
100%. That's amazing. I could tell by how animated you got. You were still mad about it. You were like,
Get mad about it.
you were getting a little upset talking about it. You were like, this fucking guy.
I need some water.
Oh my god. See, I love that. I love to hear stories about where nice people finally just have to snap. They just have to because it never happens. So when it does happen, it's so like jarring. You're like, where did that guy come from? And like, what? How did that even happen? And if people see it, they're like, who was that? You just snapped all of a sudden. But I love having moments like that.
That's
I
my
think-
trigger. Small men questioning me in the gym.
I know. Well, I mean, you asked for your help. If someone asks for your help and then it's like, what the hell are we doing? It's like, no, shut up. Like, I'm trying to help you right now. Like, you know, that's like again, I'm going to equivalent everything to fighting. It's like your coach is telling you to do something. And you're like, well, coach, why are we doing this? Like, no, just do what the coach tells you to do. They know what they're doing, you know? And I think I'm too young to have had a moment where I've snapped, but I've definitely had moments where I'm like, oh, that they're testing me right now. They're testing me, and then I have to like go take a deep breath and be like, it's okay, it's all right. And we could talk about it in the podcast, but I teach the kids classes at my gym, and man, kids will do that to you, man. Kids will do that, but then you can't snap at a kid, man. It's a kid. You're not allowed to do that. You can't curse. You can't do this. So it's like, oh, they're being an asshole, but you can't call them an asshole. So you got to go breathe, and you got to figure out a different way to talk.
Why
to
can't you
them.
call him an asshole?
That's a good question. I don't actually know. I think it was told it was told to me by somebody, and then someone else probably told them. But I think it just the society we live in today. I would be happy to call them an asshole, 100%.
How old are these kids?
Youngest one's like 5, the oldest one's like 13. So
Okay.
within that range, most of
That
them are
would
8
be
and 9.
pretty wild.
Yeah, I was
if you're
like-
training this 5-year-old, mom's on the sidelines, he doesn't do what you say. Shut up, you little fucker! And mom's just like,
I know. Fucking bitch. Stop it. Just do what I told you to do.
now the 13-year-old, I feel like that's a wildly different situation.
Honestly,
'cause
it's
13-year-olds.
yeah.
I feel like you sort of need a little firm direction from a
100%.
male that you admire. That's
Yeah.
not a bad thing.
Definitely. It's always like, honestly, it's not the younger kids. The younger kids are cool and they're innocent and they do honestly try their best. It's when they start to get older, where they're like preteens, where it's like 10 onwards, they start to get this like rebellious, like they start to try and become their own person. And their own person is usually an asshole to start, and then they become a good person. And I think that's how it goes. But the rule is, if we really want to like, if they really want to like, talk firmly to them or beat them up a little bit, we're like, all right, you're old enough. We're gonna put you in the adults class, and we're gonna let you go in the adult. Because once they're officially in the adults class, it's all right. Like, all right, you're in this environment. Excuse me, you're in this environment. Started just moving me around. I was like, what's happening? I forgot there was a dog down
said,
there. Excuse me. Like, yeah.
Sorry, Thad.
Yeah, man. Started jostling me around. I didn't know what was happening. But what was I saying? Oh yeah.
You put them in the adults class.
Put them in the adults class, because then once they're there, it's like they've signed a non-verbal contract of like, all right, your parents put you in here. You're now in the adults class. We're gonna talk like we talk in the adults class. So therefore, we can treat you like an adult while you're in this class, and that's how we're able to change it up a little bit. But like I said, I said sometimes they act like assholes. They're all good kids. I don't want to sound like I hate kids. They're all really cool. It's just every like once a month they'll have a bad day where you're like the whole class is like, okay, this is just I don't like what's happening right now. And so, but yeah, in general they're good kids, but they do push you every once in a while. That's why I respect teachers so much, because I could not deal with that. Oh, this is like a profession. No way. Mm-mm. Not even for the good parts, because there are generally good moments where you're like, oh, I love this. These kids are being great. They're awesome. But the negatives definitely challenge the positives in that department, for sure. Mm-hmm.
Do you think the Spartans, when they were training future warriors, were worried about things like don't curse to these kids?
Absolutely not.
What
I
a
don't think
soft
so.
culture we've
I
become.
know, we really have.
What a
when you
soft...
think about it.
Did you see the movie 300?
I did. Yeah. No, they were fighting freaking tigers at like 8 years old. I'm like, okay, you know what? You're allowed to curse at the kids
I think
at that
cursing
point.
is the least of our worries.
100%. Just survive.
Let's
you
be
know?
worried about the fact that your kid could become this bum on the couch watching
Exactly.
TV, throwing Cheetos in his mouth. Like,
Let's worry about that.
Yeah.
Exactly. Laziness is probably more a danger today than like actually, any physical danger, if you ask me. Oh, I did like that movie too. I do subscribe to that philosophy of, okay, train the kids physically first, give them this physical aptitude, and then worry about the, science, culture, art, all that stuff. Because I think, I don't know specifically, but they would like, the first thing they teach the kids is how to fight, how to train, how to be physically active. I wish we could do that. I wish the school system would be reversed, where, okay, you learn physically about yourself, because that'll teach you so much. And then you figure out what you want to do. Okay, I want to be a scientist. But you've already got that base of like, all right, I know how to handle myself, I think that would make a lot less assholes in the world and a lot more, positive people, for sure.
There's the key to fixing Earth. Everyone,
100%.
Enroll your kids in a fighting class right now. Get them in karate, jiu-jitsu,
Yes.
whatever, Muay Thai.
Muay Thai,
just
MMA.
get them in something.
100. Specifically, Black Widow MMA. It's
specifically.
here in Austin, Texas. Yeah, they have very good kids programs. I would check that out. Get a little plug in for the for
Yeah.
the gym. I might get some money now. We'll see what happens.
We'll see.
Oh
We will
man,
see.
we will see.
Let's get officially started. Before we do, is
Oh.
there any particular time that you need to be out of here by?
No, I'm good. It is Mother's Day, but we've got plans later today for dinner and stuff, so I'm free all afternoon, lunch, morning, whatever you want to do, man.
All right, cool. You ready?
Let's do it. Take a sip.
Howdy, y'all, and welcome to another episode on David's Saturday Night Sit Back. 3 years ago, I started this podcast with one mission: to find hidden gems in Austin, Texas, and give them a platform to tell stories that'll light your internal fire as you navigate the dark night of your soul. Tonight's guest is someone who feels like a walking contradiction in the best way possible. He's the kind of person who can light up a room the second he walks in. High energy, hilarious, social, the guy people naturally gravitate towards. Whether it's a Barton Springs, the gym, traveling through Europe, or stepping into an MMA cage, he brings presence. But beneath all of that charisma is someone asking deeper questions than most people in his age are willing to confront. Who am I? What do I actually believe? And in a world shaped by social media, AI, and constant distraction, how do I stay grounded in my own mind? He is a fighter, a traveler, a movie nerd, a Dungeons and Dragons player, and someone balancing school, work, ambition, and the pressure of building a future while still trying to understand himself in the present. At an age where many people are simply reacting to life, he's actively trying to examine it, questioning popular beliefs, sharpening his mindset, and figuring out what kind of man he actually wants to become. This is a conversation about youth, discipline, modern attention spans, masculinity, fighting, freedom, and what it means to grow up in a world moving faster than most of us can process. Sitting back with me today is Dylan Dickerson. Dylan, thank you for who you are, thank you for being here, and welcome to your episode on David's Saturday Night Sit Back.
My guy, David, happy to be here. Man, I did not. I should have watched the intro on the episode. That was incredible.
You skipped over the
I
first
skipped over
90
the best
seconds.
part. Yeah, man. I feel like I should leave right now. Like I feel solid. Like okay, that was good. I got my my dopamine for the day. I'm just gonna head out. That was amazing.
All right, well,
Man.
good thing we talked for 45 minutes
Yeah,
before I
exactly.
introduced you, so we have an episode.
You're gonna have to cut that down and figure out what's usable in there, and then just use that because I'm gonna have to leave now. Yeah.
I'm
'cause
just
that
going
was
to
amazing.
use the cursing section in your intro. It's going to be about a
Damn it.
4-minute episode, and that's it.
Yeah, like just 23 curses, and then we ended the episode. That makes sense. Dang, but no, David, happy to be here. I'm glad we finally got started, and excited to see what you got in store. So, do you start with a talking point, or are we just conversating?
We're just conversating.
We're just chewing the fat.
I could ask you one question.
Go ahead.
Who are you?
That's a tough one. Dang. See, that's one you gotta stop and think about, you know. So, I mean, I think there's two different points of like thought. There's two different people that would answer that question. One is people that'll give you a bullshit answer. It's like when someone like asks, "Hey, how are you?" You know, you just say "good." That's your first immediate response. Like some people might just say have some bullshit that they're like set on, or people told them, and that they're like, "All right, this is who I am." But I try and think a little deeper. I think I'm in some ways an overthinker, and that's something I both love and hate about myself because it hinders me sometimes, but also something that helps me out a lot. And I really don't think that's a question I can answer right off the bat because I don't think at 19, which I am 19, for everyone who thought I was older, I'm a fetus basically, and so I don't think at 19 you're supposed to know who you are. There's the rare few that do, and for those, I'm honestly very envious of those people because to know what you want to do in life and who you are, that is a very powerful thing to have. But I think I don't really know who I am yet, and I think that's a good thing, honestly, because it leaves a lot of room in my life to figure out who I am, who I want to be, and a lot of flexibility to not just, kind of, what do you call it, trap myself in this idea of who I am, because a lot of that at 19 as well is like what other people want you to be or what you think you're supposed to be and stuff like that. And so I never try and say, all right, this is who I am. Like, I do a lot of different things, but I never try and say, oh, okay, I am an MMA fighter. That's who I am. Because that's what I do. That doesn't define who I am. Or say that I'm a nerd, because I mean I am, but that's not me. That's not like the whole person. I'm made up of a lot of different things. I mean, I'm someone who's fun, loves to travel, loves to do this, loves to play games, loves to fight, and so there's a lot of things that make up me. So to simply say who I am is just feels like an impossibly massive question. So I'd say I'm a cool person if I had to sum it up in one word.
I am a cool person.
Cool person. If you want to write that down, you're welcome to.
No.
Okay, cool. Are you sure? You don't want to put it down that Dylan is a cool person? You want to put that down somewhere?
I mean, I can if it makes you feel better.
It does,
In quotes,
actually.
he's a cool person.
Perfect. There
It
you
is
go.
officially
It's in the book?
in the book.
Okay, perfect. That's all you need. You should title the episode that he is a cool person. And then,
Let me think on that
okay,
one.
okay. I'm sorry. I'm getting ahead of you. That's your editing and stuff. My bad. I'm gonna let you handle that part.
Okay.
Man.
Do you want to know how Parker answered that question?
Sure. How did he answer that question?
We don't have to. You hesitated.
No. I was like, well, my initial reaction was like, are you gonna explain that to the viewers? Because I was like, Parker is one of my best friends and someone he hit up to understand a little bit about me before the podcast. And I listen to a lot of podcasts, so I try and think about professionally how they do it. So I'm explaining for the viewers. But no, 100%. How did he answer that question?
I mean, you just answer. I don't mind a little ambiguity because then
Yeah?
the audience does think like, oh, who's Parker?
Ah,
But, yeah.
okay.
But we'll lift the veil for them today.
Yeah, I was like, let's be honest with the viewers.
Let's be honest.
Let's be honest. I think we shouldn't be lying to them and saying some total stranger was talking about me. No, he's one of my best friends, so I'm assuming it's something. Well, it could go either way. He's one of my best friends, so it could be either something positive or something horribly negative. So I don't know.
He said you're a piece of shit that he's tolerated for a decade.
That sounds just like him.
No,
That sounds
he
just like
didn't
him.
say that.
No, I guarantee that's what he actually said. Man.
He said he's a
Yeah.
really outgoing and fun person. He's the light of the room. He wants to hang out. He brings a ton of energy. He's super funny. People love to be around him. He likes being outside. He's very social, very extroverted. Whenever you're with him, it'll always be fun. He likes to talk, and he has a lot of stories to tell.
Dang. Shout out Parker. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. That is very true. I'd say for a long time, I was kind of struggle with, okay, am I an extrovert or an introvert, and not struggle with it. That makes it sound like I was really agonizing over it. It was a very easy question, but it was not like I was having nightmares about it. Like,
You're in your room.
yeah,
beads
like
of sweat coming down
exactly.
your forehead as you toss and
Like
turn in
nervously,
bed.
like,
Who
oh
am
my
I?
do I like to be around people or not? My God. But like, yeah, no, it was just something I thought about, and like, cause like, for a long time, and I was homeschooled for a very long time from kindergarten, so I never actually have been to a normal school. So as a kid, I was not super socially active. Big credit to my mom; she would put me in lots of clubs and lots of things, so I was around other kids, and I enjoyed that. But for a long time, I was like, okay, am I like an introvert? Because I have no problem with like staying in on a Friday through Sunday and not being around people, not doing anything. And there's a lot of times where I'm cool with just being by myself and not being around people. But then I was also like, well, but I also love being around people. Like, don't get me wrong. I love socializing. I love seeing people. I love talking. Obviously, I love talking. You'll see that a lot in this podcast. But even if it's nonsense, I like saying stuff. So for a long time, I was kind of like, well, I mean, this is kind of weird. Like, can you be both? And then I realized, well, I mean, no, I am an extrovert 100% because I'll talk nonstop to people whenever I can. I'll stop strangers on the street if I have a question to ask them. But I also realize it's very healthy to have that reset too. I think a lot of people want to be around people to the point where it hurts them a little bit, to where they're like always giving, and talking to people and always like on. So I think I realized, okay, that's not a negative to be like, okay, why am I not out on a Friday partying and, drinking like other people, like doing supposedly fun stuff like social media will tell you is fun. You should be out on a Friday and out on a Saturday with your friends partying. But then I realized, like, no, I mean, you need to have that reset where it's like, okay, no, I'm at home. I'm going to be myself. I'm going to be by myself. I'm just going to relax. I'm not going to do anything and not give too much of myself to, like, other things and other people. I feel like a lot of people, message for all y'all out there, it's important to have that reset and hit that reset button every once in a while and not just go out because that's the thing to do and that's what is socially acceptable. Take some time for yourself. Chill. Be by yourself. I'm gonna ask you the question. Do you enjoy being by yourself and just kind of doing your own thing, or are you kind of an extrovert too and need to be around people? Like,
It's both.
okay.
So, for example, on Friday night, one of my buddies came over at 7. We smoked some cigars on the
Mhm.
patio. Then we headed out to a comedy club, and
Mhm.
then drove back home. And then first thing on Saturday morning, woke up, went to the gym with a different friend, got home, hung out at the pool with my neighbors.
Mhm.
And by the time I came back inside,
Yeah.
I knew I do not want to say another word or see another human being
100%.
until Mr. Dillon at the
Oh, very
earliest.
nice.
I need to be in silent.
You
Not in
need, yeah,
silence. I started a new show
sure.
called Messiah. Watched 3
Oh,
episodes.
nice.
It's off to a great start. I
Oh,
love it.
awesome.
Go check it out on Netflix. They don't pay me anything. If you want to, you can. But no, I'm I'm in the both where for me it's social interactions are both an
Mhm.
energizer and a drainer. Like
A
it's
hundred
almost
percent.
causing the battery to fluctuate where it's like
Yes.
I'm going
Mhm.
up and now I'm going back down and now I'm skyrocketing again.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
I,
Mhm.
I I I need both. I desperately need both, and that's why I
Yeah.
live by myself and I don't have any roommates. And if one day a partner
Mhm.
comes along, I'll have to contend with that. But maybe I'll
Uh,
get him his own wing or something,
a
so I
hundred
can be like,
percent.
you need
Yeah.
to go to the south part of the house
Yeah.
for a few hours. Shut the
We're gonna
fucking
need to
door on
have
your
a
way.
reset moment. Yeah. I'm gonna need to pretend you're not here for a little bit. So if you could just not be here, that would be great. Yeah. No, 100%. Yeah. That's definitely how I feel sometimes. I'm just like, all right, I'll be like, cause like I'll have days where I'm just like you said, like you had yesterday, where I'm just out around people all day. I actually had a day like that yesterday, cause we are training a lot of people for a very beginner competition that's coming up in 2 weeks, and so I was at the gym from like 9:30 in the morning, quick left for a couple hours till like 4 or 5 in the afternoon for various reasons. And I was socializing, talking, doing stuff the whole time. I hit like 5 o'clock and it was like a hard stop. It was like I cannot talk to you anymore. Like we were like about to wrap up. We were kind of sitting around and conversating. I was like, okay, that's it. We're not starting a conversation. I'm gonna get my bag. I'm gonna go home and I'm not gonna talk to anybody all day because that's just what I would prefer to do right now. Like it's almost like you have a set number of words and I've used all my words.
Yes.
I have no more words to say. I'm gonna leave now. I'm also kind of like semi-selfish. Like if I'm not like actively in the conversation, I'm like this doesn't interest me very much. I need to be actively participating. So if people are talking and I'm just kind of listening, I start to get like ADHD. I'm kind of looking around. I'm kind of like, what's this over here? What's going on over there? And I just kind of started losing track of the conversation. So at that point, I'm like, all right, yeah, let's go home and just not even sleep, but just be alone for the rest of the night.
Yeah.
I had kind of the same idea. I was like, I gotta say my words for the podcast today. I was like, I want to be fresh, have things to say.
I
Of course, man.
appreciate that.
Of course, of course.
I've been doing something new. Well, it's not new anymore, but for probably a year and a half now, I'll go up to random people at like Barton Springs or the gym or
Oh
HEB,
yeah.
and I'll just say, "Hey, sorry to interrupt your workout. My name's David. I host a podcast. Here's sort of what we
Ah,
talk about. If you came on, what would you want to talk about?" And I've got some of my favorite guests doing this, but
really?
there have been a few people, to your point, where they'll start talking, and I'm just
Mm-hmm.
like, "Fuck, do I regret this? This was a terrible
Hundred
idea."
percent, 100%. Oh, dude, you never want to say that, but you're just like, oh my god. Okay, like I'm sure people, you seem like a nice guy, but like I'm not interested in this conversation at all. 100%. That's one of my fears, and that's why like sometimes, like I said, I'm a very social guy, but that's why sometimes I don't like if I'm at a party, I don't necessarily go up and talk to everyone because I'm terrified of like, okay, I'm gonna get locked in this conversation with someone and realize I don't want to talk to this person. But I'm so nice and like obliging that I'm like, oh, really? Okay, so how was that? And then I'm just letting them talk for like 20 minutes. I'm like, I am trapped here. I have to like fake. I have to go to the bathroom or something, and I have to go get away. And like, so that's why sometimes in social situations I won't be as active because I'm just like, okay, I want to talk to people, but I don't want to talk to everyone. But I don't want to tell them I don't want to talk to them. So it becomes this vicious cycle of like trapped talking to people I don't necessarily want to be talking to. But that's just me, and I'm a somewhat selfish guy like that. Like I won't necessarily talk to you if I'm not interested in it. But then the nice part comes out where like, well, now I have to talk to you because I've started the conversation, and I don't want to make this person feel bad. So it's a give and take in that kind of area.
Yes.
100%.
One of my favorite reactions to walking up to someone and inviting them on the podcast. Hey, I'm David. Sorry to interrupt your workout. I
Mhm.
host a podcast here in Austin. We talk about things that we have accomplished in the realms of business, fitness, and culture with the hope
Mhm.
that by the end of the episode, the internal fire is burning a little bit brighter in the audience. Just out of curiosity, if you came on the show, what would you want to talk about?
Mhm.
I'm not going on your fucking podcast. I paused for about 3 or 4 seconds, not expecting that reaction.
Mhm. Mhm.
What was that a joke?
Yeah.
And he just glares at me. And I said, "I'm so sorry to
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
interrupted your workout.
Like I'm
I'm
gonna
going to
leave
move on."
now. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that one was really quite the curveball.
That's tough.
I was just like,
Man.
God damn.
I know.
Maybe you should listen.
Yeah.
Maybe
You should.
maybe you're the audience.
Maybe. Yeah. Exactly. Like, damn, dude. Okay, all right, fine. I'm sorry I interrupted you. My bad.
And I
Like,
still see him at the gym every night. And whenever I see him, I'm like, oh God, I need to say a prayer for this guy.
I
He's
know.
struggling.
That's tough when you got to see him again. That's why I never want to cut off a conversation on a bad term because I'm like, I'm probably going to see this person again. And that makes me so uncomfortable when like something is kind of awkward and then I know I'm going to have to see this person. And because then I never really address it. We just kind of see him. That's kind of weird. And then we go and then I see him again. It's kind of weird again. And it's just this cycle of like, all right, this is just kind of awkward. I don't like this.
Yeah.
So that would make me so tense. I would probably try and avoid that person if that happened to me in the gym all the time. I might see him and just turn the other direction and be like, all right, I'm going to have to work out tomorrow. I can't
See,
work out today.
I'm the opposite of you. I'm a little passive aggressive where whenever I see him, I want to
Mhm.
go work out right next to him. Don't look at him.
Yeah, right
Don't
there.
say anything. Just be a unwelcome
You're
presence in
just
his
there.
life.
You're not necessarily like bothering him, but you're there.
Yeah.
And just by you being there is bothersome. Like, yeah. I love that. I love that. I'm going to try that. I
You
like
should
that. I'm going to
try
start
it.
using
Try it,
that.
doctor. It could be fun.
I'm going to give that a go because that does sound like fun. Man, because, yeah, I never like to outright
Does
mess with
sound
people,
like
but
fun.
it sounds like fun. Just to not address it at all, but just kind of be there bothering someone the whole time. Like, that would be kind of fun. I enjoy that. But no,
I'm just waiting for the day. I most of the front desk people, I'm not friends with them, but they know me and we'll talk for a few
Sure.
minutes when I get there. And I'm just waiting for the day when one of them comes up to me and they're like, "Dude, this guy just canceled his membership." And when we asked him why he wanted to cancel, his reason was this fucking podcaster won't leave me alone. That would
keeps
make
following
my
me
day.
Oh, that'd be amazing. Oh, that would actually be funny. Because then you could tell that on the podcast, too. You could talk about that. Imagine he hears it one day. He's like, this fucking guy.
I like want to help
Man.
people and hurt them all
Yeah,
at the
exactly.
same time. I don't know who I am either.
I was
I'm just like causing chaos, and I'm also like, oh, let me help you.
You've got
know?
some contradicting like personality traits, man. I'm a little concerned. Like on one hand, you seem like a really nice guy, and then I'm like, dang, this guy's kind of passive aggressive. What's going on?
Yep.
That's an odd dynamic.
We
Which I
gotta
really
have
like.
fun in life.
Yeah, 100%. That's 100%. That's why I was like, I don't think I'm any one person, because like everybody is so contradicting of themselves and their personalities. Like you like just explained right there. Like you're a super nice guy. Then all of a sudden this
I'm causing chaos.
Yeah, exactly.
At the local gold.
this switch flips and it's like, oh, why is he being kind of an asshole? What's happening? Like, it's like you're two people in one, and it's like, dang, that's crazy. You train at Golds?
Yeah.
Oh, which one?
There a couple. So I go
Oh.
to either is the main one.
Okay. I was gonna say I go to the Burn It one, the one they just built over there.
Boo. Sorry.
Wow, what you got wrong with that one, man? That's a good one.
It's a good gym.
Mhm.
The vibe in that gym is strange to me.
I'll give you that. That's why I didn't go there for too long. I went there for a couple months. Only recently I canceled the membership, but
Yeah, you
it
don't
was
seem
kinda
like
odd.
someone that goes there. You're a very nice guy. I don't run into
Yeah.
I don't run into a lot of nice people at that gym.
That's why I was only there for so long. I was like, this is kind of odd because again, I don't talk to a whole lot of people there, but like, yeah, it is definitely an odd vibe. It's a lot of very focused people, which is kind of initially what drew me to it because I was like, okay, these people are serious about training and they're
Agreed.
focused and so I like that part. But then the longer I was there, I was like, okay, this is a little strange. They're like almost like hyper focused, and the people's personalities are a little odd. And nothing that was too bad. Like, they were all okay people, but I was just kind of like, it was so weird. I had one day where it was like it's the weirdest thing. Every gym has a couple oddballs where you're like, okay, I don't want to talk to that person. They seem a little weird, and they're doing weird workouts and stuff. And I had one where this guy was talking on the phone real loud to somebody, and I'm sitting across from him at like I forget what like a chest press or something. And out of nowhere, he comes up to me and he was like, "Oh, dude, you probably heard that conversation." And we were wondering. I'm like, "I wasn't at all. I did not. I didn't even hear what you were saying. I just noticed you were talking loud, and I glanced at you, and then I was like, all right, I went back to my workout." But he was like, "Yeah, you probably heard what was happening, and you probably were confused." And I was like, dude, I was trying not to listen. And respectfully, I was like, "No, I was trying not to listen to your conversation. I didn't care." And but then he just goes on this a whole talk with me about his personal situation, and I'm not gonna give this random guy's details in his personal situation,
Give it.
but okay, I will. But like, he was telling me about how he inherited all this money and how he keeps it all in cash. And then the dude opens up his backpack and shows me like I don't even know, like $10,000 that he just carries around in his backpack, like in cash, because apparently he doesn't trust the banking system. It might have been more. And he starts telling me about how he's lending money to people and how he's basically has to be like a collector, and he's trying to hit up the people for the money. They won't pay him back. And I'm like, dude, are you in the mafia? What's happening? Like, you're concerning me a little bit. Because he started saying everything in aggressive terms, and I was like, okay, I'm trying to do my chest press. Like, I did that thing where I continued to work out as he was talking to me to kind of indicate that, like, okay, I'm just working out, I'm a little busy right now. But this dude kept going on and on about, and I got nervous the minute he showed me that much money, because I was like, dude, you got to cover that up. What the hell was that? Like, don't show people that. Don't just walk up to people and say, I have $10,000 in a backpack. And I was like, but yeah, it's interactions like that, and I've only had really one that was weird like that, and then I've had a couple others where I was like, all right, I'm gonna go somewhere else, I don't particularly, because it was a couple people like that. Not to besmirch Gold's Gym. Gold's Gym is very good, and they do have good, cool people that go there. I have friends that go there, but yeah, it just wasn't the vibe that I enjoyed. But yeah, no, it's little things like that for sure.
That almost sounds like someone who wants to be caught.
I know.
Like he's involved. He just jumped out of the show Ozarks.
I know.
He's sort of being between a rock and a hard place where he's laundering money, but because his life is threatened.
Yes.
And so then he's going up to people and saying, "You're probably really interested in what my life is about," when you're just like, "I didn't even notice you."
I know.
And then he's showing you the money, and like on a subconscious level, he's praying to God that you're a cop, and he's
100%,
like, please that Dr. Dickerson be the cop that
I was like, does he think I'm a narc? Like, I feel like I look a little bit like a narc. Does he think that's what I am? But I'm like, no. I was like, dude, I don't want. This is making me nervous that you're carrying this much cash. Like, I felt like I'm one of those people that's almost like a little square in the sense where I see a lot of money, I think we're gonna get jumped immediately. I was looking around. I was like, yeah, these all seem like okay people, but you should probably cover that up right now, because he was taking out rolls and like showing me. He was like, look at this. I was like, dude, put the money away, man. Do you have a weapon? Do you have a defense mechanism? I'm like, let's just leave that be. And so yeah, I try and stay away from things like that. But
on Saturday, one of my buddies, he came. I don't know if you noticed or not, but I have a sword hanging in the corner of the hallway.
That was the first thing I noticed.
Did you actually notice it?
I did. I walked in. I was like, why is there a sword on his hallway?
So my buddy John, he was hanging out on Saturday, and he goes and grabs the sword and he gets it out of the sheath. And John is jacked, like he's a very in shape guy.
Nice.
And he was like, "What? How do you think your podcast guests would react if, when they're coming up the stairs, I'm standing outside your front door, shirtless, holding the sword, with this just like most serious look on my face, and then they get to the top of the steps, he sets aside, I open the door, and I'm just being David. I'm like, Dylan, what's up, brother?
Just
Grab
a
your
normal
hand,
dude.
give you a hug,
up, man?
and he's just fucking dead face staring at you with a sword sheathed in his belt, and I'm just like, I sort of want to do this, John.
That would be awesome, 100%. I don't know how I would react, but I know it would be fun, whatever it was.
I mean, for you, you're a fighter, so there's a part of you where you're like, okay, maybe there might be a situation here, but I'm ready. But imagine if I'm like, one of my friends is a female singer. Imagine if she didn't know me that well, and she shows up, and there's a jack dude shirtless with a sword. Like, she's leaving.
Probably.
All of a sudden, she had a fight with her boyfriend, and she's unable to make the episode. And
gives you a call, like, nah, I can't make it. Some stuff came up. It was like, yeah. But I mean, honestly, I think I wouldn't even be intimidated. I think the idea of that is so absurd. I mean, if he's holding a gun or something, that's one thing. That's where it's like, okay, that's dangerous. But if a weird jack dude is staying outside your building with a sword, I'm gonna be like, I need to at least figure out what's happening. I need to. It might, even if it turns out to be a dangerous situation, I need to ask Dave, why is this guy outside with your sword? That would be a great way to start your podcast. You should have like a bird cam or something out in the hallway, and so you could get like a gritty version of people walking up and you see them checking their phones and looking around, like, is this the right spot? Like, where
Yes.
am I?
Well, that's actually, I did see a podcast recently where it was new to me, and in their show, they had a third camera where when the guest walked through the door, they all greeted each other, and you could see this entire room, and then they went into the podcast studio.
Oh, that's cool.
And that was the first 90 seconds, and, that's a lot of money invested to put up a few additional cameras, but the intro was so... It was so warm. Like, I felt like
natural.
I was being welcomed, and I was sort of
Exactly.
stepping into the studio with them, and I was like, shit. That makes me want to put a camera, like, on the staircase so that we can see John shirtless with a
100%,
sword, and
yeah.
the audience can see the family room, which I need to clean up. It's sort of embarrassing and messy
that's
right
okay.
now.
We don't
but
need to look over there right now. It's okay. Let's keep the focus over here. It's
I was
very
like, oh,
nice
this
of it.
19-year-old kid is coming over. He might feel more comfortable if it's a little bit messy in here.
Honestly, this looks a lot like my room. Yeah, it's very,
fuck.
very accurate. Yeah, it doesn't reflect good on you, but like for me, I feel very at home. Like, I guess not good on me either. I need to clean my room, but yeah, it's okay. We just focus on the nice. Honestly, you have a very nice podcast setup. It's weird the juxtaposition. You have like a normal apartment over there,
Christ.
and then I'm not trying to put you down, man, but like it's just weirdly nice over here, and then it's just shit over there, and it's just like, what the hell is happening? No, you have a normal apartment. I'm pretty sure everyone's apartment is supposed to be a little messy. Otherwise, it's like, does he even live here? Like, what's happening? I would be more nervous if I walked in and your apartment was ultra, like, clean and neat and nice. I'm like, because if any apartment that's just super nice, unless you have, like, a hired housekeeper or something, I'm like, this dude might be a psychopath. Like, why is he so neat and clean all the time? Like, so I'm actually more comfortable with a slightly messy apartment. So you're doing good right there, man. You got a homey feel to it, you know?
You just reminded me of a podcast where I had 3 comedians on.
Oh, yeah?
And at one point, one of them said he was talking about something, and he was like, that's so super gay. And then he looked at me, he was like, do you mind if I use that term? And I was like, well, I'm a pretty easygoing guy, but as a gay dude, like, just know your audience.
Yeah.
And as soon as I said that, one of the comedians goes, I knew it! I knew you were gay! And I was like, how? What? Because it's not very obvious about
it doesn't
me.
stand out or anything.
And
yeah.
before they had come over, I had fucking detail cleaned this place. And he said, no straight single man's apartment would ever be this clean. And I was like, yeah,
fair.
that's a good point.
Yeah, he's just used logic. He just got you there. You're like, you know what? That's right. I like it when things hit you like that. You're just like, you know what? He's right. I can't even argue that. Like, he's just like, all right, yeah, you're correct, sir. You got me.
And he used the bathroom, and there's some like framed pictures of family back there too. And he was like, "No straight guys like put up framed pictures of his
your
family."
No straight guy likes his family this much. That's not.
And I
that's
don't
not
actually
real.
like my family too much necessarily either. But
But you have the pictures.
I still have
you
the
still have the
pictures.
pictures. Yeah, for sure. Man. That's crazy. That's funny. I gotta get on a podcast with some comedians. It sounds like a wild time.
We can have you. We could have you, Parker, Jarrett, and Kyler.
That
would be.
fun.
That would be a. We'll do it in the evening. Well, do you? Well, I probably shouldn't ask minors if they drink on this show, but
probably
me
not
and
good for
Kyler
you,
and Jarrett will have some drinks. I'll have some Dr. Pepper for you and Parker.
Thank you, sir. Yeah,
it will be a shit show. I'm just gonna sit back and listen to the 4 of you go whatever direction you go.
100%. I think I think the best you can do is have 2 like comedians, and then you need the
2
juxtaposition.
fighters, a fighter and a parkour guy.
Fighter and a parkour guy. Oh yeah, dude, you should see some of his stuff, man. If you do get to talk to him, he's got some crazy parkour stuff, and it's crazy because again, audience, going off on a guy you've never met, but Parker is really cool in the sense that like he in the last 2 years got super jacked, so he is a massive like jacked dude. And incredibly so, but he does these incredible flips and crazy like freaking double twirls. I don't know all the lingo, but and you're like, dude, you must weigh like 200 pounds, but you're doing freaking jumping through the air like you weigh 100 pounds. And I'm like, what the hell? I would like to do that. And then I try and do a backflip on a trampoline. I'm like, yeah, that's not for me. I can't. No, I'm gonna keep my feet on the ground. I can kick the shit out of someone, but I'm not gonna be throwing my body around like that. You know, it's not for me.
Same here.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, definitely. Did you, because I like to know more about you, man. Did you play sports? You seem like a fit enough athletic guy. Are you like a sports guy?
That's sort of a resentment I have in life that I need to, maybe I'll talk with my therapist about next week. So I really wanted to be a football player and or a wrestler.
Okay.
And my parents said that no,
Oh,
because football players and wrestlers become criminals. So
they
I
said
was
that.
forced into
Wow.
basketball and soccer. Soccer I
Oh,
dropped out of pretty quick. It was
okay.
just you're just running and running
It's a
and then you
lot.
run some more and it's
Uh
just
huh.
like holy crap, does this ever
Yeah.
end?
Mhm.
Basketball you're running too, but the court's a little smaller and
It's
you're
little,
breaking
yeah.
and dribbling. It's much different.
Yeah.
And then by junior year I gave it up. I was just like I'm done with this. I
That's
just want
it.
to lift weights and be a big
Yeah.
dude
A
and
hundred percent.
look like I can do a lot, but really, if I was to fight like Dylan, I'm
Yeah.
definitely losing. Even though you're half my size,
I
not
got you. I
half
got you.
literally. That was a mean comment.
No,
You're a very
please.
jacked dude.
I'm a smaller person. I accept that willingly. I'm a lightweight for the most part, but yeah, it works for me though, because lighter, you're a little faster, you're a little quicker, and I like that trade off. I did have a moment where I was inspired by Parker to like get in the gym. That's actually why I joined Gold's Gym in the first place, because I was like, okay, he got super jacked. Let me get super jacked, and you have that moment where you're like, I want to get big. So I did that for about 5 months, and I was just like, I can't do this anymore.
No,
I can't. No, because like as much as I like going to the gym and I like supplementing my fighting with lifting, but it really, especially when you've trained fighting for the majority, for me to get into lifting, I was like, and don't get me wrong, it's cool. For me, I was like, I can't do it. It's boring. Like for someone who's so used to like, okay, we're hitting pads, we're sparring, we're rolling, we're doing all sorts of crazy stuff. For me to just repetitively lift something up and down for like an hour, I'm like, I mean, it's not for me. It's not for me. Not saying it sucks. It's really cool, and a lot of people love it. But for me, I'm like, I need to be hitting someone. That's how I enjoy the workout. I need to be punching someone or choking someone out. I need to be doing that.
punch that boring person that's talking your ear off and you have no interest.
Exactly. I should just choke them out. Basically, what I should do, I should get behind them, choke, boom, put them out. They have a nice nap. I get to go talk with someone interesting. It's a win-win. I think that's how it works.
What a I lost my train of thought.
Uh-oh.
What do you think? Do you think there's anything people misunderstand about you when they meet you for the first time?
Oh, that's a good question. I like that. Let's see. Misunderstand about me. A lot of people, and maybe this is off topic, a lot of people seem to think I'm older. Like you thought I was like 25, right? You told me that initially. A lot of people assume I'm older, and that's not necessarily off my looks. I feel like I look like a teenager, but it's when they talk to me. I think I've always had like an older soul, so I'm always naturally a little more mature, and I think that comes with being homeschooled because I always kind of were around adults more than kids. And so people, after talking to me for 5 minutes, they're like, and then at some point age comes up. They're like, dude, what the hell? You're 19, 18? I thought you were talking like you were 27 or something. And so I think a lot of people misunderstand. They think that, okay, they see a kid, a 19-year-old, but then once they talk to me, they're like, dude, you're really mature for a 19-year-old. Like, you're not like, I honestly don't necessarily, I have exceptions, but I don't necessarily like talking to people closer to my age or younger people because I almost like the more mature conversations with like slightly older, not necessarily mature. I'm not like stuck up or anything, but like having a more like intelligent conversation with someone who's like 25. I like talking to. I've always just gravitated toward more like adults than like kids, even as a kid. So I think a lot of people misunderstand. They see me, they're like, "Oh, this is a teenager. He likes to play around. He likes to fight and stuff like that." But then you get to know me. I'm like, I like the more intelligent things. I like to take a more intelligent route, and beating up people is just a hobby. That's the other thing. I think people always think that, oh, you're a fighter, so you just like to fight. You like to get in fights. I'm like, no, I'm not even a violent person in general. Like the only reason I started fighting was because a gym opened up near my house. I was like, that looks cool. And then like 5 years later, I've had multiple fights, but I'm not at all a violent person by any means. I like hitting people, which again, where we have that conflict of like, okay, I'm not violent, but I like punching people in the head. But I think a lot of people might assume like, all right, he fights. That's a lot of what he does. Okay, well then like maybe he has an ego, or maybe he's more like a little childish or this or that. But I'm really more so a laid back, chill person. I'm an extrovert, but I'm not like crazy. I'm not the guy that's gonna say, let's go do a backflip off the bridge into the river. I'm not that guy. I get scared of that. I'm like, let's think that through. But I'm definitely more so I think, what do you call it? I think I seem older than I am a lot of the times. extremes in that regard. Yeah.
I found you. So I don't know if you'll remember the photographer. If you do, feel free to shout him out, or if you don't want to, you don't have to. But
Depends.
I have different ways of finding guests on
Mhm.
Instagram. So I had found a photographer's page, and I was
Mhm.
clicking on all the people he took photos of, and the
Mhm.
people that lived in Austin and looked interesting,
Yeah.
I invited them on, and the people that didn't, I didn't.
Yeah,
but
for sure, for
but this
sure.
was the picture I had seen of you, and that does not look like a 19-year-old man to me. That
Ah,
that looks
yeah.
like a dude who's 23, 24, 25. He's been
100%.
fighting for a few years. He sort of knows who he is. He has an
100%.
established identity. And
Mhm.
so that was one of the reasons I hit you up. If I
Oh,
knew
that's
that you were
awesome.
the age you were, I may have paused because I
Right? You
do
might have thought about
generally
it a little
try to
bit.
have people on that are like 24, 25, 26
Mhm.
or older because
Yeah.
they have some good life experience. They have some good
100%.
stories. But to
Yeah.
your point, you do carry yourself very well. You're very articulate.
Mhm.
You're a good
Mhm.
storyteller. You seem like you've
Very much.
experienced a lot of life. And
I appreciate
there
that.
are different, even just at the gym on Thursday,
Mhm.
I talked with one dude who's 18,
Mhm.
and all we sort of talked about was working out. He didn't make
Yeah.
a lot of good eye contact. He was sort
Mhm.
of always like staring off into I don't even know where.
Yeah.
Didn't ask me a lot of questions. I was
Mhm.
sort of driving the conversation.
Yeah.
30 minutes later, talked to another 18-year-old, and we were talking about how his brother just got put into rehab because he was
Mhm.
smoking too
Mhm.
much weed, and he sort of does some crazy things when he's on weed.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
was asking me questions about the podcast. He was talking to me about how he's going to a crab party, and I was like, I don't even know what a crab party is, but I love seafood, and can I get an invite? Can I go
Yeah.
with you?
Yeah.
And it's wild to see like how age isn't really a factor to your
Mhm. Mhm.
development. It's
Yeah.
more so life experience and just
100%.
like the first guy, like I wouldn't even have the thought about having him on the podcast. And the
Yeah.
second guy,
Mhm.
I walked away thinking I enjoyed that conversation so much.
Yeah.
I don't know what we would even talk about if you came on the show, but do you want to come on?
You're just fun to talk to. 100%. Like it's definitely very hit or miss with the younger people. Like you said, it's like the only reason people like older they just have life experience. It's just that they have a more set number of years that they've been able to have life experience, but you can fit a lot into 18 years. And so like it's definitely like I have tons of friends that are like 18, 19, around my age, which is normal. It'd be weird if I just hung out with older people. I need to have people my age. But like I have tons of them, but it's very select. Like there's plenty where it's like you said, where you're talking to them, they don't say a lot, they're very nervous, or they just don't have anything to talk about because like their life is this, maybe just this or that. They haven't had that life experience that kind of makes them like interesting to talk to. And so like that's why I definitely gravitate to talking to people that have had some experience, or else at the very least you need to share something in common with them. You need to have a common talking point where it's like, okay, fighting, we can talk about fighting, that's cool. Maybe that's all you know kind of how to talk about, but we can talk about that for a while, and that's going to be cool. So I'm glad you think I'm a interesting person with life experience. I appreciate that. Oh, shout out to Nick who did take that portrait. He's a very cool person. Nick's photos. I don't remember his Instagram handle, but
I can give him a quick shout
yeah,
out.
give
It
him a quick
is
shout out.
Nick Posada. Is that his last name?
It might be his last name.
Posada.
Yeah.
Nick Posada Photos is his handle.
Yes, he came by and did a couple photo shoots for us, really professional photos, and that was a little while ago. I haven't seen him in a bit, but he did really good for us, so I want to give him a shout out. And that's one of the things I like about the fight game so far, even at this amateur level, is we have so many people that come by and do professional photos, photography, this, that, and it feels like you're on a movie set. I'm like, what the hell? I'm getting professional photos done of me. They're doing interviews. I'm like, what the hell? This is awesome. So yeah, shout out to him because he did a really good job with those pictures, 100%.
Why do you think you gave me Parker as your person to call before you came on the show?
Um, that's a good question. That is actually something I thought about, and that's one of the reasons. Like, I think we had a call on Thursday, and then I didn't send the form and stuff until Sunday, because that's the one thing that was holding me back. Because I was like, okay, I know a lot of people, but who? I was trying to balance. Okay, who knows me best, but who also knows me well-rounded as well? Because there's people that know me from the gym, but they just know me in the gym. They just know me what I'm like in the gym, what I'm like fighting and stuff. So they'll give me the gym perspective, but they won't necessarily know me as a person. Parker has known me for, like I said, well over a decade. I think I met him when I was like 8. I had started in parkour too. I did not follow it because if you don't want to do flips in parkour, that holds you back a little bit. And But yeah, I met him over there, him and Wyatt, the twins, and they've been my best friends forever. I think I picked him because he knows me the best, and also I think he was the best at articulating a little bit. Like, I know people that know me well, but maybe they wouldn't be able to voice it properly. They wouldn't find the right words, to describe me or describe them. So I think he's someone I have a really good connection with. He knows how to talk. He's stupid sometimes, but he says smart things every once in a while, so I keep him around just for that. But yeah, and also he's one of those people I also would. Damn it, he's gonna listen to this, and it's gonna be annoying. Parker, just you don't get a big head or anything, but he is someone I admire, because he does have a certain drive about him, and that's one of the things I try and surround myself with is people that have like a drive in them, no matter what it's for. Like, that's why I like the gym so much, because it's people that are driven. They're like, okay, I'm going to be a fighter, or I'm going to be this, or I'm going to be that. And he has a drive to whatever he sets his mind to. Like I said, he was like put on like 20 pounds of muscle in like a year, because he set his mind to it. He's like, okay, I'm going to go to the gym 5 days a week, and I'm just going to lift until I get big as hell. And it's scary. It's scary. I used to throw him around a lot, and now he's like massive. And I'm like, well, I still, it's not as easy now anymore. Even with the training, I'm like, this guy's kind of scary. He looks like freaking Conan from the comics. And like, but yeah, I definitely gave you his number because, like I said, he's someone who knows me well, and he knows the full picture. He knows me as the fighter. He knows me as like the normal kid. He's known me since I was kind of a nerd, and he's known me since I was like kind of come more into my own. So I think that's definitely why I gave you his contact information for sure.
I like that. Yeah, Parker, don't let this go to your head, but
Definitely
I did a
don't.
quick scroll
Fuck
of
you.
his Yeah,
Okay.
well, I'm not going to join in that, but
You can.
'cause-
It's okay. He deserves it. It's
maybe
okay.
after the podcast, after
Okay.
him and I build some rapport and I poke fun of it at him
Okay,
in real
got
time.
you, got you.
But I did a quick scroll of his Instagram before I jumped on the phone with him, and it was this like long-haired, skinny, nerdy kid doing backflips off walls.
Yeah.
And then there's a picture of him at ACL, and he got his hair cut, and he has a shirt open, and he has these
Transforms,
big old
basically.
pecs, and I'm like,
yeah.
whose Instagram page did I just transfer
Did you
to?
just get to a different? Is this his brother or what is this? Like, yeah, right? You're like, there's this massive jump from here to here. You're like, what the hell just happened? And yeah, definitely, because I think he stopped posting for a little bit too. So there is a gap of like a year or two, and then you see him, and you're like, what the fuck? This is insane. But like that's a transformation everyone goes through. Like that change from like I don't even know 14 to like 18 is incredible. You see people just change completely.
Hopefully.
Hopefully. You would hope so.
You would hope so.
You don't want him to be that same person. You're like, you get a little concerned. You're like, okay, you should have had your growth spurt at some point, buddy. I mean, I'm a little concerned about you. But yeah, and now he's, becoming worldly like me. He's traveling, like you said, he's going on a whole European trip in a couple weeks and stuff. So yeah, I really admire, everything he does and stuff. Again, Parker, fuck you. Okay, there you go. I don't want you getting all like, oh, you're so nice, you're so guy. No, I'm your friend. I admire you. Don't bring it up later. Okay, don't try to hug me or nothing. Yeah.
I talked with someone recently. One of my buddies came on the show. I talked with his person. She's like, oh my God, I just love John so much. And when I saw him at the gym a couple days later, I was like, Patty, dude, she fucking loves you. And my first response was like, I think that's a pretty strong word. Like, John's okay.
Yeah.
He's okay. But that's not going to. No one loves John.
Yeah. Let's not get crazy here. Let's work on the wording. Let's work on it. Okay, likes maybe is a more preferred word, Yeah, you don't want to use too strong a word, I feel like it's weird how you treat your best friends almost worse than you treat your friends.
Totally.
Isn't that such a crazy thing? Like, I honestly can give my best friends shit that I would never give to just a normal friend, And yet it's like it's cool. It's cool. Like, I have a friend to bring up another one of my friends, Victor, who trains. He's another fighter, really good. He's beyond my level. He's really good. Not pro, but he's a kid like me. He's 18. But I will give him so much shit. And it is incredible to the point where we'll be around people and like, do you even like each other? Like, what is happening? Y'all just go at each other nonstop, like just angrily accusing each other of everything. And we're like, no, that was cool. And like, it was amazing. I'm going to go see him again tomorrow. We're probably going to do the same shit. Like, And it's crazy when you can just build that kind of rapport with someone. Because I would get so upset if I thought I actually hurt one of my friend's feelings by saying something. That would break me. But until then, I'm gonna give them so much shit, and they're gonna give me so much shit, and it's gonna be fun for
There's
sure.
an art to it for sure.
There definitely is.
On
There
Friday
definitely
night at the comedy club, one of my buddies was wearing a shirt. And I never realized how big his back was.
is.
And I was like, dude, I'm going to fucking call you Quasimodo from now on. And I was like, no, 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 not that.
Maybe not that.
Quasi Swolo. And he was like,
Mm.
hang on, hang on. Isn't that the guy from Hunchback of Notre Dame? And I
Yeah,
said,
yeah.
goddamn right.
Yeah, it is exactly. You're like, yeah, you're right. It is. Oh, man, I'm glad you got the reference. Thank you. Yeah. Oh, that's funny.
How'd you and Parker's dad get close?
Oh, that's good. I'm assuming he brought that up in the interview. Yeah. Let me see. From this is to go into one of my other passions, so if I get on a tangent, feel free to stop me. But we started. He is the one that introduced me into Dungeons and Dragons. And to all y'all that don't play Dungeons and Dragons, start playing Dungeons and Dragons because you're fucking missing out. All right, it is an awesome game. I started playing that. If I met Parker and Wyatt when I was 8, we started playing that maybe when we were 10. I was 10 or 11. It was after a couple years, so we got to know them, got to know the family, got comfortable, and so he invited us over. I forget. Initially, he was always a big nerd, and he played a long time. He wanted to get his kids involved, get us involved, and so that's where I first met him. And it was so crazy because he is an adult, but that loves to play what a lot of people would consider immature games, likes to play kids games. What people consider kids game. I'm not saying D&D is a kids game. It is awesome for all people, and I think that's a bias that we need to get over. But and so it was so crazy because I started to get build this connection with him through the game. Have you ever played Dungeons and Dragons or anything equivalent? Okay, you should, man. You're missing out.
I do love board games.
Board game, we play those too. We play a lot of board games. But Dungeons and Dragons is so good because you take on a character, and so you can be a little different than yourself in the game. So as a kid, I was a little shy. I was, homeschooled. But then I would play Dungeons and Dragons, and okay, I can be this other guy. I can be this guy within a safe environment within this game, where I can be a little bit more extroverted. I can be a little bit more boisterous. I can be animated, and me and him 100% clicked in that regard because he's a huge nerd. I'm a huge nerd. And so we bonded over Dungeons and Dragons, and we played all together for like a long time. I want to say like 5 or 6 years consistently. We played multiple campaigns, multiple games. And after Parker and Wyatt, they still like Dungeons and Dragons, but they, life started going in a different direction for all of us. But so our group would change over the years, and so everyone kind of started moving away and doing their own thing. I am unique, and I stuck with it, and I was like, no, I want to keep playing. And so we've gotten multiple different groups together, and so we really just click in the sense that we love the same things. We love to play games, whether it's Dungeons and Dragons or a complicated strategy board game or this board game or this card game. We love to play things, and that's where it's like, what do you call it? When you love something as much as another person, and then but like no one else really likes this as much that you know of, it's like, okay, it's almost like latching onto a life raft. I'm like, okay, you enjoy it's not just me, you enjoy this as much as I do. Like, I'm not some weirdo. Like, there's other people that enjoy this as much as I do. So, and also he's a really intelligent person. He's older. Obviously, he's a dad. So some people are like, "Oh wait, you play Dungeons and Dragons with someone who's like 55 or something?" And then the group is older too because it's a lot of his friends. And but I'm like, yeah, no, it's the age gap does not matter. Like we were saying, like age does not matter. It's about like, okay, what do you have in common? Like we both love to play these games, so it doesn't matter if like I'm younger, they're older, this or that. We both bond over this one thing, and we're super like to the point where we're annoy other people. We'll be talking about it the whole time. They'll be like, I have no idea what you're talking about, but we love it. And so yeah, he's a really cool person. It's great that I've gotten to know their whole family. Like I love the kid, I love their dad, their mom is super awesome. And so like it's the point where like I'm friends with them. And it'll be kind of funny because I'll go over and Parker and Wild will be like, "What are you doing here?" I'm like, "Oh no, I'm not to see you. I'm going to see your dad." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm not here to hang out with you." I'm like, I'll walk past them and be like, "Hey, Chris, what's up, man?" And I'll go like hang out with him and play games. And like, it is kind of funny how like that'll happen. Yeah, we'll have to figure out like, oh wait, are you here to see me? Him? No, Dad. Yeah, I'm gonna go see him. We're gonna go game. You do whatever you want to do. We're gonna be over here for a couple hours.
That's awesome.
It is super cool. Yeah, yeah. They'll be so confused sometimes. Like, why are you here? I'm like, you know what? Get over yourself. I'm not here to see you. I'm here to see the other cool dude that lives in the house. But yeah, so we bonded over that, and I give him mad props because he's the one that introduced me into nerd games and Dungeons and Dragons and stuff. Without him, I might have found it a lot later, and honestly, that's shaped me a lot. So I might be a completely different person without that, you know.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That you just reminded me of. I went home for my birthday last year to
Mhm.
California, and my mom really wanted to host it at her house because selfishly that gets her more time with me. Where
Of
even if I'm
course,
not interacting with her,
you're
I'm in the
there.
home and I'm there.
Mhm.
And so
Yeah.
I had a bunch of my friends over, and there was this one guy. Shout out Jordan.
Mm.
We met when he was like 16 or 17
Mm.
because we were both in the gym, and I just
Mhm.
happened to look over and I see this guy with 225 on the bar, and
Mhm.
it's just resting on his chest, and I could tell like, oh, he's stuck. So I
Yeah. Yeah.
ran over and I
Go help
grabbed the
him out.
bar and I racked it for him, and he sits up and he takes out his headphones and he
Mm.
puts out his hand and he says, "You just saved my life." I was like, "What? I don't know about that."
I don't know.
But
I helped you out.
he
Yeah.
was like, "We were meant to be friends. Here's my number." And so
Yeah.
then we ended up becoming buddies and we work out
Mhm.
together, and now that I'm in Texas, we call each other every couple months.
Mhm.
But when I went home, he was 20 at the time and his girlfriend was 19, and so we're having this birthday party at my
Mhm.
mom's place, and everyone that I had over was between like probably like 28 and my age
Mhm.
38, and then you
Yeah.
have Jordan and his girlfriend there.
Yeah.
And I remember my other buddy David told me at one point that his girlfriend went up to him and she was like, "David, why are these two kids here?" And his response was, "That's just David. He doesn't really give a
Yeah.
fuck about age. He's just if he and another human being connect and they
Mhm.
like each other, they don't
Yeah.
get caught up in the nuances of like, oh, we quote unquote shouldn't be friends
Yeah.
because I'm
Mhm.
38 and you're 18. Like, if
100%.
you and me end up becoming friends and we hang out once in a while, it just is
Just
what it is.
happens.
Like,
Yeah.
fuck it, you know?
100%. Yeah. No, I love that. I love anything that's like where you're kind of like, oh, that's kind of weird. It's almost like they shouldn't be friends, but they are. But that's because they share something or they have a bond that like just is not usually normal, but is really cool. And it was to the point where like my mom got a little weirded out by it because she was kind of like she was a little confusing. Don't get me wrong, she loves them, and we were good friends for a while, and there was some stuff that happened with some what do you call it, friends we had in common where the parents were having a divorce and blah blah blah, and people took sides, and so like she kind of fell out with them a little bit. And so because of that, she got all weirded out. She was like, "Why are you hanging out with this 55-year-old man and playing games?" And she was like, "This is so weird." To the point where she was kind of like, I don't know why it's wrong, but I don't know if I want you doing that. That just feels kind of weird." And like this is when I was like 17 or 18, and she was like, "This is just kind of odd that you're hanging out with someone that's so much older than you." And I was like, had to explain to her. I was like, "No, Mom, this just because we share this thing in common. Like, like I can't explain it. We just kind of have this bond over this one thing that we love to do, and like I don't want to stop doing that." And so like she came around, she understood, and it was like, but it kind of made me think. I was like, you know what? There shouldn't really be this bias around, people of different ages being friends, people with this, that, or other things. Like you can be friends with whoever you want if you have a connection with them. Or you can, hate whoever you want too. You don't have to be friends with everyone, but like there should be no like external factor like who you can be friends with. 100%. hmm I hope that's all I had to say on that. So I'm just gonna let it be silent. hmm
Talk to me about Luke.
Luke, shout out Luke, not Luke Skywalker, Luke, my brother. He is a cool person. Once again, my brother, so I might give him some shit. He's 2 years younger than me. He's 17. I will give him a little bit of props, and then I'll shit on him. He is also another one of those driven people. He was homeschooled like me. Unlike me, he's a little less social. He's more of an introvert. He doesn't like to be too much in social interactions. But he is extremely smart, and I give that up willingly. He is smarter than I am, 100%. Where I kind of took the jock route, where I'm like, "Oh, I'm just gonna go beat people up." I was like, "Yeah, I want to go hit people." He was like, you getting into computers and teaching himself science and math and stuff like that. And I'm like, "Oh, yeah, but do you hit any people when you do that?" I'm like, so I kind of feel like we literally have a jock and a nerd, but he's way smarter than a nerd. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm just gonna go over here and sweat on other guys and like do weird stuff yeah. So he's definitely like he's 2 years younger than me, but he's already going to Texas A&M well before I ever even thought of college, he was already getting ready and applying and knew what he wanted to do. He's someone who has it kind of figured out as to what he wants to do. Whether that's what he always wants to do, I don't know. But he's into some science major that I can't even remember again because I hit people for a living. And he is definitely someone who's just knows what he wants to do. Again, whether that's what he commits to his whole life, I don't know. But when he gets an idea, he is single-minded and he knows that's what he's going for. Now I'm gonna shit on him. He's very skinny. He's no, I can't shit on him. He's a cool guy, 100%. But
You could if you wanted. I mean, it's your brother. You could find something to
I
say about him.
know
But if you don't want to, that's very kind of you as
I
well.
I am. I'm
You
a
save
kind
that for
person.
behind closed doors.
We do. We
Thanksgiving dinner table.
do.
You will shit
100%.
on Luke.
When we get the family together, that's when we'll do the shitting and stuff like that. But no, I feel like we don't have that relationship. Like obviously we're brothers. We get on each other's nerves all the time. But I feel like we have a very good relationship, especially now, because a couple years back, I think when I was 14, 15, our parents got divorced. And so I was old enough to the point where it didn't affect me as much, to where I was like, okay, I'm not committed to them being together, this, that. It's a little inconvenient, but it wasn't something that hit me like emotionally. Like I never had any problem with it. My brother, he's a little more emotional. He took it a little harder. Like the same way, any kid is like when their parents get divorced. Like, what's happening? So I think that definitely made our relationship a little stronger because it was no longer like we didn't have like the what do you call it, unity of our parents, so we had to rely on each other a little bit more because during a divorce you see the worst out of your parents whether they want to or not. You see a little immaturity, you see pettiness, you see this, that. So where he no longer felt comfortable coming to them with things, we would start to bond and we would start to talk about things. And of course, I had independence, so I could drive him places, I could do this, that, and so I think that really helped us get like more of a connection. Because if that hadn't happened, we might still just be kind of just immature brothers and maybe not have a bond till later. But because of that, we kind of like started to rely on each other more, and he started to come to me with things and stuff like that. And I would not always act like I was listening, but I was. I would try and be a little aloof about it, be like, yeah, okay, all right, sure. But yeah, so I think that definitely helped with the connection a little bit, and for that reason, I can't shit on him too much. He's a cool person. He's not necessarily someone I hang out with all the time, but he's a cool enough guy for sure.
Talk to me about being homeschooled.
Oh, that is a big one. I love being homeschooled, man.
You did.
I love being homeschooled, and not well off the bat, you don't really know. You're just like, all right, my parents took me out of school. That sounds cool. And so I've never actually been in a normal school. I was straight out of kindergarten. They took us out, and they were like, "You're gonna be homeschooled now." And now it's more of a thing. Back then, it wasn't so much. It was more so like this niche. Like it wasn't in Austin as much. Homeschooling was like, "What's homeschooling?" And so they were kind of went against like the norms at that time. Now it's a bigger community. Now it's like, oh, homeschooling's kind of cool now. But back then it was a little odd. So yeah, they took us both out, and homeschooling for us was not a whole lot of schooling. I didn't start learning math. This obviously they taught me how to read and write and stuff like that, but I didn't learn anything like crazy until I started doing like community college when I was a little bit older. Everything was life experience, which is why I think I also seem a little bit more mature because we would go out. We would go to real world places. We would go to museums. We go to parks. We go to this thing, this event, that event. And that's how they kind of considered the education because they were like, okay, we could sit you down and try and teach you algebra and this and that and science stuff. I don't prescribe to that. But yeah, and I'm just going to hit people. But they wanted to make sure we got a lot of real world experience. And then also they signed us up for whatever they could. I was in a chess club for 6 years because they signed me up for that. I was in the 4-H
Ooh.
club. I was in this club. I was in that club. I love chess. If you ever want to get a game, we can.
Yeah.
100, you play
Say
chess?
less. I mean, I'm not good at it, but I would love. Can we
Yeah,
meet at
yeah.
a coffee shop sometime and play some chess or something?
100%, bro. Dude, I
Fuck
love it.
yeah.
I love chess, man. 100%.
Heck yeah. We don't curse around here.
Yeah, heck yeah, I love chess. Yeah, it's freaking flipping amazing. But I would do that for the longest time because I was homeschooled, and obviously your parent is your teacher, so you don't curse. And so we would just say random things like that. We say like fudge, flipping, and I would feel so like weird about it. But I was like, that's what we say. Where was I? Oh yeah, homeschooling. So Yeah, and so we didn't do a whole lot of schooling, and obviously that gave me a little bit of trouble when I went to community college. I felt a little bit behind, but I was able to catch up pretty good. And but I really love that because it was such a developmental time for me to be able to like okay experience people, experience places, be out in the world, and kind of understand how the world works. So in that regard, I feel like I have more like real world like experience than most high schoolers. Also, not just being around high schoolers. Have you ever been around high schoolers? So a
I,
lot of them can be idiots, jerks, stuff like that. Don't get me wrong, there's good people, but I think there's something to be said from a little bit of isolation, taking a kid away from an immature environment and putting them in an environment where it's like, okay, you be who you want to be. Don't be what the social element dictates. Don't be what other people want to be. Who do you want to be? Like, there's no social pressure. There's no pressure from this or that. And I think I turned out the way I am because if I had gone to high school, I probably would be a completely different person right now. I definitely probably wouldn't be on this podcast. I'd be somewhere, maybe smoking pot. I don't know, doing this, that, because I would have way different influence than what I've had. And so I 100% recommend homeschooling because it really gives you a good perspective on life. And being bored. That was the biggest educational experience. Is sitting around the house not having shit to do, not knowing what to do. Your parents aren't gonna give you anything to do. They still work from home and stuff. They're doing their own thing, and so your brain starts to go in miraculous things. It starts activating things in your mind. You're like, okay, I need to figure this out. Like, we didn't have phones until we were like 15 or something like that, and it's like you just gotta do something. So we go outside. That's when I started exercising because I was like, okay, I'm not doing nothing else. I'm gonna go out and go for a run. I'm gonna see if I can run my own block. I'm gonna go learn how to jump rope. I'm gonna do this. I'm that. I'm gonna figure out what stretching is. It looks cool. And so I took it in the physical route. My brother took it in the more mental route. And so it lets you just kind of like figure it out, you know. And obviously, I still don't have it figured out, as was the opening of the show. But like, it lets you kind of become who you are rather than just kind of like absorbing other people's. And like, I feel like as a kid, you're a sponge. You just kind of like your perspective kind of comes from everyone else, like your parents, your friends, this, that, the other thing, and you are a sponge all the way through your life. But there, it's really developmental, and so I think I was unique in the sense that okay, I wasn't taking from other people so much. I picked up a couple things, but a lot of it was just me developing myself. It wasn't like I took this from someone else. I got this from someone else. I got this worldview from someone else. I was able to go out in the world and experience it for myself and decide what I thought of it myself without having through the lens of being around a bunch of idiot friends or this and that and like see how they thought about it. So it's a really good experience and one I would recommend to a lot of people if they can do it. If they can do it right, like you can mess it up easy enough. I knew a lot of homeschoolers that were just very socially awkward. Very, you could tell they were like in a cave for the majority of their life, and nothing against them or the parents. They just maybe this just didn't work out for them. It's not for everyone, but if you do it right and you get them out, and yeah, I've met some crazy people, man, where it's just like they don't even know how to talk to humans, and I'm like, okay, you need to get this kid out more. You get him playing some sports or something, like get him to the gym. I don't know, but if you do it right and you get out the kids enough and you do what you're supposed to do, it's a really good experience for anyone.
I was homeschooled third grade through seventh grade,
Really?
and
How was that?
it was interesting.
Okay.
The ththing I loved about it was we were basically done by noon every day, and then we were just out in the neighborhood riding bikes,
Yeah,
playing
yeah.
basketball, shooting Nerf guns at each other.
100%.
But every Friday, to try to get us socialized with other kids, we would go to this co-op, and there's about 25 other kids in it. And to your point, I do remember that the other 24 kids looked like so pale white. It was like, did they ever go outside?
Right? Like literally, did they actually go outside? Not you're not saying that in a like, oh, did they ever socialize? Like, no, did they physically leave the house and go out and get some sun? Like, yeah, 100%.
And very awkward. I'd show up and I'd have things I'd want to talk about. I'd be like, yeah, I just got this Pokemon card and this new Nerf gun. And,
Oh, yeah.
and they would just be staring at me with like almost jaws dropped wide
like,
open. And I think they liked me because I brought some excitement to their lives. But then I was there sitting there thinking like, so what'd you guys do this week? Oh, we learned that, the root of pi is, and I was just like, oh my God.
Yeah, it's not necessarily. There is a wrong way to homeschool. I will say that. Not to shit on anyone, but there is a wrong way to do it. There is. And yeah, it can't all be about the learning. That's why you homeschool them in the first place, so they could do other things other than the learning. And
Granted, those 24 kids are probably like CEOs and making significantly more money than
they
me, but
probably are getting paid more.
yeah.
But is it worth it? I mean, you got to have some fun too. You know, you got to be able to socialize and stuff like that. And that's why people are always surprised when I say I'm homeschooled. They're like, well, "But you seem like a normally developed person."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Yeah, no, it's just my parents did it right. That's all." You know. And also, I attribute a little of that to me. I mean, I'm a cool person too. But yeah, no, I give a lot of props to my parents for raising me right in that way.
Talk to me about your parents' divorce.
That's a good question. So, like I said, I was 15 and it didn't hit me as much. I'm not as emotional a person as I don't know. I shouldn't say as I should be. It's just I'm just not. Things don't hit me in that way. And sometimes I feel like a little bit of a psychopath, where it's like things that hit other people. I'm just like, it's, okay, all right. I'm not. I understand. I'm supposed to be upset about it. I'm not really. But yeah, at 15, I was still independent. I was about to get my own car. I was about to get this and that. So a lot of things that kind of hit you when you're younger, when you're 8 or 9, and your life depends on your parents, and so that thing feels like a world splitting apart. It didn't hit me like that. I had my own things going on. I had the gym at that time. I had my own job. I had this, that. So it wasn't as bad. But my mom divorced my dad, and it hit my dad pretty hard because he didn't see it coming. And so there was a long time where it was kind of rough. And then we had this weird situation where they were still living together because he was also unemployed at the time and was struggling to find a job. He had gotten laid off, so he was kind of struggling to you know get some money, and there was a certain amount of money that was coming to him, but there was legal and stuff like that. So they ended up still having to live together after officially divorcing for like a couple months. And when I tell you that was awkward, you better believe me. it was so weird. It was a weird time, and because my dad would be on the couch and they would have to pass each other, but they would do this weird thing where they sneak out the gates, and I would be in the kitchen making food, and I would see my dad walking on the outside of the house to like go out, and so it was definitely an awkward time, not something I want to relive. But like I said, I had my outlets. I had fighting, I had work, so I didn't necessarily need to be around the house all around and be around that little bit of toxicity that was going on. But they handled it real well. Eventually, my dad he moved to Arizona for a little time for work because he just needed a job and he needed to get out. And then he moved back to Austin after a while. And he's in Austin now. And now I have a really good relationship with him. And I'm always someone that looks on the positive. One of the positive is I feel like one thing that homeschoolers especially specifically will have is transferring the parent into more of a friend figure. So your parent is your parent for so long, and then you need to look at them as like, okay, now I'm out of the house, now I'm a little more independent. I can start looking at them as more of a friend. And something that divorce did really good is, okay, these are starting to look less like my parents and just more like normal people, you know. And my dad moved away for about a year, and then we saw him. Don't get me wrong; he didn't like leave or anything. We went out and visited him, but then he comes back, and I'm like, okay, I'm looking at him more as like someone I want to hang out with rather than someone I'm obliged to hang out with because he's my dad. And now we have a really good relationship to where I'm living with him right now, and it's really cool how like I no longer talk to him like, okay, this is my dad, or in some weird way it's like this is almost like a roommate, but as a like more familiar figure, you know. We're able to talk and we're able to shoot the shit. I'm able to curse, which I was not able to do for a while, so that's, it made me more comfortable in that. And same thing with my mom is because now I'm living with my dad and I'm out of the house from my mom, and now I'm starting to see her more like less as like, oh, my parental figure, and more as like someone, okay, I get to hang out with this person. This is a cool person. This is my mom. I have a connection. I'm gonna see her later today. It's gonna be awesome. And so as someone who looks on the positives, that's something I really like, because when you look at it the other way, if that hadn't happened, let's say they were happy, and then we had it good, everything was fine, and I'd probably still be living there in our family to this day, and it would be harder of a detachment. You almost need that jarring detachment to say like, okay, you can't live at home forever. You gotta let's move on. Let's stop looking to your parents for everything. Start looking to yourself for things. And I think it really helped me like get a jump start on my life, because otherwise I would still be I'd probably be a little dependent. I would be looking to my mom for stuff, I'd be looking for my dad for stuff, I'd be asking them for things, and it would be a little bit different than what it is now. So I look at it the positive way, and then that was really good. And then they moved on with their lives too. Like my mom's dating again. My dad's out here, living life, doing good, living the bachelor life, which I appreciate. And like I said, we're kind of like, I can talk to him more as a friend now. So I'm like, Dad, you got to get out. You got to go date someone. You got to go. You're living kind of an introverted life here. I need you to get back out there, and which I wouldn't have been comfortable with saying like a couple years back. And so we can kind of talk like buddies about that kind of thing. And so for that, I really am. On one hand, I mean, of course, it was kind of an awkward time. It wasn't fun. But on the other hand, I'm a little glad it happened, rather than them trying to stick it out and being like kind of unhappy for a while, and then just doing this kind of weird thing where they split up way later. And I'm like, I'm glad it happened then. I'm glad it got over with, and that it kind of made everyone for the better, 100%. Because the last thing I want anyone to do is stick with someone because they feel obligated to. So I give credit to my mom to say, all right, we're gonna cut it off. We're gonna do it. We're gonna go through the shit now, so that we don't go through a painful process later of a couple years and letting it drag on. Let's just get it over with. Let's do it. Kids, you're gonna be okay. We're gonna handle it out. And so I honestly look at it as a positive more than a negative. Hmm.
Who do you think the world wants you to be?
You're throwing some curveballs at me, man. The world. Well, let's see. Let's break that down. So the world as a whole, I know there's a lot of what do you call it? Almost stereotypes of what you're supposed to do. And I'm kind of honestly right now, I'm almost fitting into that. I'm doing homeschooling was already kind of outside the box, so that was good. But now I'm following more the traditional path. Okay, I'm going to college, I'm going to get my degree, I'm going to get a job, blah blah blah, and I'm going to do all that. But I think the world wants me to be someone who just contributes to society, someone who goes, gets a job, hangs out with friends on the weekends, and just lives life. And that's definitely never someone I necessarily want to be. I want to have something where, okay, this is what I want to do. I don't. A lot of people are just, and I hate it. A lot of people are just, surviving. They're like, okay, I have a job, I'm putting food on the table, I have a house, and that's their goal. That's what they do. And then, okay, maybe I'll try and date some people or have some friends. But I never want to be that locked in, because that feels like, it feels like I'm just like an animal. I'm trying to survive. I'm trying to get through life. I'm trying to reproduce, and I'm gonna try and die one day. But
I'm gonna try and
I'm
die.
gonna try. I'm gonna try. It's on the list. We're gonna try and make it happen at some point. But that feels very much like fitting into the stereotype. Okay, that's what the world expects of you, to just kind of do what you're gonna do. Whereas take I want to take a different path, 100%. And that doesn't mean being crazy and being wild. I'm still going to go to college. I'm going to get my education. That's a smart thing to do. I'm going to learn what I need to learn, because at the end of the day, you need to master this, but you also need to master this up here. You got to be smart. So I am going to go the traditional way, and I'm going to go get my degree. But at the end of the day, I don't want to work for someone else. I want to start my own business, ideally. What that is, don't ask me. And I know that sounds weird to want to start something and not know what it is. But I never want to just get locked into this space of where, like, okay, I'm doing this and I'm getting by and that's what we're doing. No, I'm always going to strive for something a little bit more, a little bit better, and try and make something of myself. And have you ever watched Game of Thrones?
Yes.
Oh, of course, of course. Yeah, I knew you were a cool
Yes.
guy. I knew you were. And how they talk about remembering names and bringing on the legacy and all that stuff. I don't prescribe. I'm not going to kill anybody to do it, but I do definitely want to have something that I build that kind of outlives me a little bit. And I know some people might see that as superficial, as like, okay, it doesn't matter if someone remembers you in 100 years, blah blah blah. But I want to have a purpose. I want to have something where I build this thing and people remember me for it, if that makes sense. I want to have something where I can build this, and maybe it doesn't have to be 100 years, but a couple years down the road, people are like, oh, who made this? This is really cool. This helps me. This is good. And then they remember me in that way. And so I do definitely want to build something. I want to do something with my life, which is classic what a teenager says, but I actually want to follow through with it. And on the other sense, I'm doing untraditional things. Like I am, like I said, I was in a chess club for 6 years. That definitely helped me out. I fight. That's a big one. It's crazy because I think that's definitely something where I fit outside the mold a little bit. Cause I mean, I don't know if you noticed, but I'm white. I don't know if I know that might be jarring, but so I'm a little tan. I have like some
What?
yeah, I know, right? I'm just white with a nice tan, so I'm just letting you know that now, so you understand. But so I'm this smaller white kid who's doing cage matches. I mean, that's not necessarily what a lot of people expect of me. And also, I'm a super nice guy, so like, what the hell, you fight people? Like that's ridiculous. I did not think that would be you. And so I kind of go outside the path on that, and that was something that was fully my decision too. Like that wasn't something I was ever pushed into. Like my mom was like, "Okay, you did a little of this, a little of that. What do you? I feel like you should do something physical. You know, we should get you in some kind of sports." So she was like, "What do you want to do?" And I cannot tell you to this day what in my brain told me because I didn't even watch fighting. I never even watched fighting. I was never interested in fighting. I knew it existed, but I was like, well, and I still remember this moment vividly because it changed my life a little bit. I was like, I kind of want to learn. I want to fight. I kind of want to learn how to fight. It seems kind of cool. It seems like something I want to do. And I'm like a 14-year-old. I'm not confident about it at all. I'm just like, this sounds cool. And then credit my mom. She was like, okay, let's run with that. Let's find something. So we
Yeah.
found yeah. And so we found a gym that was near the house. I started going there, and then 5 years later, I'm there like 6 days a week, and done dozens of fights. And that kind of changed it, and I really love that was a decision that was all me. Like that was not influenced by anything. I cannot tell you where it came from, where I got the idea. It was just something that was kind of inside of me that said, let's do this. And so in many ways, to go back to your original question, the world just kind of wants you to not make noise. I feel like the world wants me to be someone who's just like, okay, just don't create waves, just kind of go about what you're supposed to be doing, and don't mess up the system or anything. And eventually, I want to be that person that does something that no one saw coming. I want to do something. I want to do the end game where people are like, "Oh, you've been building this whole time. We had no idea that was coming." And I kind of want to do that to where I'm a little unassuming. People think I'm taking the normal path, but I want to be able to eventually step outside of that and really do something with my life. You know.
Yeah.
100%. Like you got this podcast, you already got some crazy stuff going on, man. If I could have a podcast one day, that would actually be kind of sick.
You'd be good at it.
You think so?
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Coming from a professional podcaster like you, man, that does mean a lot. I appreciate that. But I mean, just to compliment you real quick, you have some very good questions on this, man. You're very thoughtful about everything. Like you don't even need to think about it. You have it all written down. You're like, all right, question to another one, and I really appreciate that.
Yeah, man. I appreciate the kind words.
Yeah, of course.
I feel like that with this podcast to my family. They know that I'm doing this, but they don't pay attention at all. And I feel like there's going to be one day 3 years from now when they open up YouTube and they're going to see me on a stage with 1,000 people in attendance, and they're like, "Wait, what?"
Yeah, like whoa, he did this?
Yeah.
This is the same guy? They're like, I thought he just did a podcast. Like, what the hell is this? That's another thing that I'm big on is like you said, that's on the internet. That's gonna outlive you. It's kind of crazy to think that in 100 years, someone could be watching this very podcast episode and not have any idea who the hell we are. But it's just on the internet. It's there.
Yep.
And so they see it. And so that is actually a pretty crazy thing to think with media now. But that's another thing I'm always conscious of is, am I doing it because I love it and people just are gonna see it, or am I doing it because I want people to see it? And that's something I always think about a lot. And for you, it's like, okay, you're doing it, but then they might happen upon it. You're not doing it so they could see it and think, oh, he's such a big deal. He's so cool. Like, no, that could happen, and that's a good bonus. You should be aware of that, but that's not the main reason you're doing it. And I feel the same way about most decisions I make, where it's like, I need to think, okay, am I doing this because other people want me to do it, or I think other people will think it's cool and I'm going to get some respect, or am I doing it for me? And that's something I had to face with taking fights. To bring it back to fighting is a lot of times, our coach is really good about offering fights that she thinks you'll do well in. She's not going to throw you in a fight that she thinks you're going to lose. And so she'll come by every so often and offer you a fight. She's like, okay, do you want to do this fight? You want to do that fight? And a lot of times, sometimes I've taken fights because I'm like, okay, this sounds cool. I'm going to do this. This sounds like a lot of fun. It's something I'm going to really enjoy, and I'm going to do it. Other times, I have to step back and think, well, wait a minute. I don't actually want to take this fight right now. It's going to be 5 weeks of hard work, weight cutting, training, all that stuff. And then, yes, there's going to be a payoff and I'm going to enjoy it. But am I doing that for me, or am I doing that because I think people are going to admire me for doing that?
Mm.
And at the end of the day, you can't do it because you're trying to impress other people. Because there's been some times where I'm like, I'm really excited about it, and I want to bring it to my friends, I want to bring it to my parents and stuff, and that's cool. It's good to show them that kind of thing. But I'm like, well, is that because I'm doing it? Or not because I'm doing it? Is that the reason I'm doing it? Is to just show off to them and make them think I'm a cool person? And I'm like, you got to have that security about yourself of, okay, wait, your friends and your family already think you're cool. Okay, don't be all like, self-conscious and be like, well, I need to prove something to them. No, they're your friends, your family. They're going to love you either way. So at the end of the day, to take a fight just because you think people are going to admire you more for doing it is not necessarily a reason you should do it. And I take that to all aspects of life. Is I should do it because I want to do it, and it's going to better me personally. And then yes, the adulation, this, that comes with it. That's awesome. That's great to have. I'm not saying discount that. Like, yeah, promote yourself a little bit, but at the end of the day, you got to make sure you're doing it for you and not for what do you call it? Like the dopamine hit of people saying like, "Oh, you're a good guy. Oh, you did amazing. Oh, that was awesome." Now that it's at the end of the day, it's for you, because you're also not going to do well if that's what it's for. If your head's not in the right space, if you're there for this and you're not actually in the fight, you're thinking about after the fight. Okay, what's going to happen? What's this? I've had that on a couple fights recently as well, where like, not recently, a little while ago, but where you think so much about the before and after, and you realize, well, wait, I'm not actually thinking about the fight. I'm thinking about what's going to happen after the fight. Oh, people are going to clap me on the back and say you did awesome, and I'm going to go out to dinner, and it's going to be cool. And like, you're realizing, well, wait, you could just do that. Why are you doing this fight? You think this fight is going to garner all this for you, but you're not actually thinking about doing the fight because you want to fight. You want to have this whole thing that happens after. And I take that to all parts of life of like, okay, am I doing this because I want to do it, or because I want this outcome of other people admiring what I'm doing? So I take that to everything. And I think that's what a lot of people should take, because a lot of people do stuff because they think it's going to impress other people. And at the end of the day, you got to think about, okay, what's going to make me feel better about what I'm doing, and not just going to make this other person feel good. And that's something I try and think about a lot.
I don't know if you know this, but about 95% of podcasts don't make it past episode 3. They give up
Really?
between like 3 and 20.
I believe that.
And I do wonder if it's because of exactly what you just said.
Exactly,
They're doing
right?
it for money, or because
Mm-hmm.
they think they're going to be a Joe Rogan overnight, and
Yeah.
then they get
Mm-hmm.
7, 8, 9 episodes in, and they're not getting that attention that they want, and
100%.
they end up they just stop recording.
That's where you see the difference between people that actually want to do it or just want the outcome that it's going to give them. And I'm going to equate everything to fighting, because I train like 6 days
That's
a
what
week.
you do.
So yeah, so I was like, if it ever gets tiresome, I'll try and make another analogy. But yeah, you see it in the gym all the time with newcomers, and you can instantly, by the way they talk about fighting, sometimes you can tell, okay, if this is going to be a long-term person who's actually going to fight, or is this going to be someone who's going to come in and give up within a couple weeks.
Not to cut you off, can
yeah.
you give an example
Yeah,
of both sides? The people where you can tell they're going to give up versus this guy's going to stay with or gal is going to stay with us.
Yeah, 100%. Like, the long-term people, and of course it's hit or miss. This isn't all the time you can tell, but usually the people that's trained long-term are people that, okay, they're interested in fighting. Maybe they watch fighting and they think it's cool, or they want to learn self-defense. It's people that don't come in with massively high expectations. They come in and then they kind of fall in love with it by training, rather than having this preconceived notion of like, okay, this is how I'm going to do, or this is how I want to do. The people that usually don't last, and again, there's exceptions, because some people just have egos, but they are actually good at fighting, are the people that have this preconceived notion of like, okay, most common is they're like, okay, so how soon can I get a fight, as they're signing the waiver to do their first class. They're like, okay, so what do you think? Like 6 months and I'll get my first fight, and then we'll get like amateurs and stuff. And it's like, dude, you haven't even trained for like 2 weeks, or like after 2 weeks, they're like, okay, so am I ready to fight? Am I ready to fight? I want to fight. And people that are so like focused on this goal of like, all right, this is what I'm going to be, then they doesn't meet their expectations. They get beat up by everyone. They're like this, that. Like, fighting will do that to you right away, where you're like, okay, I'm not doing as good as I thought I was going to do. I thought in my head I was a pro fighter already, and I'm going to do this fight. But And again, props to my coach, Bisabe. She weeds out the assholes very fast, the ones that do have horrible ego and think they're the shit, even if they only have some skill. And then the people that don't stick with it are just the people that are too focused again on the end result. They're too focused on getting their hand raised, winning the fight, doing the fight, and they're not actually enjoying the training. The people that last the longest are the ones that enjoy the training, love to do this sport, and then the fight almost just happens to them. Like that happened to me, where it was like I had no notion of fighting. I had no conceivable idea of like, oh, I mean, I know that's a part of it, but I don't really want to fight right now. Then my coach came to me. She was like, "Hey, we have this beginner competition coming up. Do you want to fight?" And I was just like, "Yeah, sure. I love training, so why not just train a little harder and go ahead and try to compete a little bit." And so I think those are sometimes the people that last the longest, are the ones that love the sport for the sport, and not the people that are focused on the fight to the point where they're like that's all they want, you know. Because at the end of the day, you have to enjoy what you're doing. You know, if you're training to fight, you're not enjoying the training. It's like, well, why? You're gonna do that the majority of the time. If you have an 8-week fight camp, guess what? All you're gonna be doing is training for 8 weeks. And if you hate every minute of it and all you want to do is get to the fight, it's like, well, why are you even doing it? You're gonna burn out fast. Even if you get your first fight, you're probably gonna burn out after that because it's not what you expected. And there are some exceptions, like one of our pro fighters, Johnny Gonzalez. He is pro. He just went. He has pro debut last year, and had a couple. He's had a bunch of fights. Don't get me started on how many fights he's had, but he's one that had the confidence and knew what he wanted to do, knew he wanted to train, and was focused on the fight. But he also put the fight off. He wasn't someone who's like, all right, how soon can we get the fight? He was like, okay, I want to fight. That is my end goal. I'm going to be a pro fighter, but he didn't try and rush the process. He was like, okay, let me slow it down. A fight was offered to him. He turns it down. He's like, no, I'm not ready. He turns it down again. He turns it down. When he's finally ready, he's like, okay, I think my skill's there. Now I'm going to take the fight. And that's how you can tell the pros from the amateurs. It's like the amateurs are just like, let me get a fight as soon as I can. I want to fight. I want to fight. I want to fight. The pros are the ones that think about the long game. Okay, I don't think my skill's where it needs to be objectively. I'm going to wait, and then I'm going to get this fight, and I'm actually going to win the fight. And then long term, I'm going to wait until I'm ready for the next one. I'm going to do the next one. So I think the people that last the longest are the people that have the most patience and the most of the time, you know? And I think that goes for any sport, because so many people think, especially with social media nowadays and stuff like that, with that, as soon as they do it, they should either be good or bad at it. And like once they do figure that out, they're like, all right, I'm gonna quit this. I'm not good at it, or I am good at it. Blah blah blah. But at the end of the day, you have to. I keep saying at the end of the day, I'm gonna find something else to say. But in the long term, you have to have the patience to wait and see. Like, okay, am I good at this? Am I not? I don't need to be the best at this. I can be okay at it. That's where I'm at. I'm just an amateur. I'm not the best. I'm not the worst. But and then you need to just be happy with that and not have this preconceived notion of like, okay, I want to be a pro fighter and I want to win every fight and I want to do amazing, you know, because those people just don't last. Hmm.
Talk to me about social media's impact on the human attention span.
I gave you an opening for that, didn't I?
You did.
I opened you right up for that one. I was thinking that as I said it because I knew it was on there somewhere. Let's see. Well, I think it's definitely it's going downhill for sure. We have a problem. We have a problem for sure. And I noticed it in myself a lot because I didn't get my phone until I was 14 or 15. And even after that, I didn't get Instagram until I was like 17 or 18. And the only reason I got Instagram is because for the gym, a lot of social media stuff is done. It's all done through Instagram, a lot of updates, a lot of communication. And then I also, for fighting, I need to promote myself to a certain extent. So I was never really on, or never wanted to be on Instagram. But it's so weird. You can see the progression of the slow addiction as it starts to get to you. It's like, all right, let me just glance at my feed real quick. All right, let me just glance at the search real quick. All right, let me look at a couple reels, you know? Before I know it, I'm scrolling for like 20 minutes. I'm like, I just wasted fucking 20 minutes looking at like stupid shit. And I really think it is a problem, and it's not controversial for me to say that. Everyone thinks it's a problem, but I mean, not like we're doing much about it is the thing, because it's addictive. Everybody enjoys it. It's a problem that people enjoy. It's like drinking, you know? People enjoy the problem. We know it's a problem, but we're not going to do anything about it because we like it. And so the thing that I think we really need to fix is kids using social media, and I see it a lot with kids today. Like I said, I teach a kids class, and the attention spans, and I can't attribute it all to social media and stuff, but there should be an age limit on when you're allowed to use Instagram, TikTok, and stuff like that, because for me as an adult who has a certain level of self-control, I struggle with not being on Instagram all the time and not like looking at something for a minute and then keeping my attention span for that. And but kids, you're just absorbing all this stuff. Like I said, you're a sponge, and so like to just be having to like the constant dopamine hit of like, all right, reel, 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 reel. All right, I watched this reel for 2 seconds. When's the next reel? When's the next reel? Next reel. And so you're talking about a kid who already has an attention span of a kid of like an 8-year-old. So you compound that with the, all right, what's the next thing? What's the next thing? What's the next thing? What's the next thing? And it's definitely not healthy at all. And I've found it in myself. That's why I try to take breaks from having a phone in general. Because if I have my phone, guess what? I'm going to look at Instagram. That's the problem. Even if I know I don't want to, I'm going to look at it at some point. Because it's the social aspect. People message me through Instagram and stuff like that. But then once I'm on it, I know I'm going to look at the feed or this or that and other thing. And so I think it's really something that I don't know what the solution is, because it definitely does impact you, like scrolling and scrolling, and like so I take breaks. I'm like, okay, let me try and focus on a movie that lasts is like 2 hours and see if I can not look at my phone. Because when you actually try that, you realize it's difficult. Like I challenge everyone out there to try and sit through a whole movie, even one you enjoy, for 2 hours and not look at your phone, not glance at it, not to see if someone texted you, not to see this, not to see that. Because it's tough. I'll find myself, especially if you have a streaming service with ads, you're like, well, an ad pops up. Let me just glance at my phone real quick and see what happens. And then 10 minutes later, I just scroll through Instagram for like 5 minutes. And I'm like, oh, God. 10 minutes later, I scroll through for 5 minutes. Something like that. And, but yeah, so it's like I challenge people to just not look at your phone for that whole amount of time. Because even if you're entertained, you're like, okay, I'm entertained now, but what's the next thing I could be entertained by? What's this? What's that? And so I wouldn't say, again, I'm a very positive thinker. I wouldn't say this is something that gets me super upset. It is something that annoys me. And like I'll have it with my friends where I'm with my friends and we're not doing nothing. We're kind of bored. And they'll hop on the phone and they're just scrolling. And I'm like, we're right here. We could be doing like what we're doing right now and just having a human conversation with each other about anything. But instead, we're going to hop on TikTok or Instagram. I don't have TikTok, but they're going to hop on TikTok, and we're going to look through and we're going to just scroll and we're going to look at random stuff that's kind of stupid, and we're not going to talk to each other for like 20 minutes because we're just kind of bored. And I'm like, you need to have that time or else you're not going to, make of anything of yourself. Like if people attributed the amount of time they attribute to social media to like actually doing something productive, I think a lot more people would be a lot more successful. Because the thing about it, like the amount of time in a day, and then you compound that by weeks, months, years that you spend on social media and how that affects your attention span it adds up to a lot of time. It adds up to the days, weeks, to the amount of time you're actually on social media sites. And so if you can focus that energy and attribute that to something where you're not looking from reel to reel, you're looking at, your life or this or that, or actually learning some shit, it would mean a lot more productive lifestyle. And that's why I also love, again, training so much, because you don't even think about your phone. You could be sweating and training for like 5 hours, and then you're like, oh, well, now I can check my phone because it's okay. I did all that. I'm gonna look at it, and I don't even want to look at it. I'm gonna leave it right there. And so I think it's not controversial to say we need to watch out for it, but it's also something that if you're really driven and you have something you want to accomplish, it shouldn't be as big a problem. You should be able to turn it off. You should be able to say, okay, I'm going to focus on this now. But it is something you got to be aware of because, it could be a little dangerous and detrimental to what you want to do in life, too. So I think that's all I got to say on that. So I'm going to cut it out right there. And there you go.
Something interesting I've observed about you.
Oh, please. I'm an interesting guy. What is it you've observed?
You have been playing with your pants this entire
I have.
conversation,
I have.
except when you talked about being homeschooled and
Hmm.
your parents' divorce.
Really? Oh, you observed that?
Hmm.
Oh, that's crazy. See, that's something I didn't even pick up about myself. I didn't even know that. I knew I was doing this, and it started annoying me even. So I was like, stop doing that. But I don't know what you attribute that to. You said homeschooling and the divorce. I didn't talk about. I didn't play
Mm-mm.
that. That might be because it's something a little bit more serious, or I have a connection to. Everything else, I feel like I'm kind of spitballing, and I'm like, all right, let me. I know what I'm talking about, but a little nervous talking about it because I'm like, I need to talk about it correctly. But those two things, it's probably because I just have a more. You see, I'm not even doing it now because I'm conscious of it, but I'm probably just because those are more of a emotional connection. Because, and I'm real with myself, even though I'm like, oh, it didn't affect me, the divorce. It did. It did. I can talk to a therapist about it, I'm sure, but it's not that it didn't affect me in a harmful way, but it's something that I'm definitely more emotionally connected to. So that's probably why, as well as homeschooling, because again, I take the fact that I was homeschooled very seriously because it made me who I am today. And I can't say that a lot about other things. I think fighting and stuff too, but those are really what developmentally like helped me a lot. So I probably have a more like, emotional connection to those two things. Now that you said it, I'm probably not gonna do it because I'm gonna be thinking about it the whole time. I'm gonna be like, I'm probably gonna put my hands over here or something
There's
like
some
that.
fidget spinners there if you want them.
Ooh, no, then I'm gonna be distracted. I'm gonna put them here like I'm in a business interview, and I'm
No,
like
no, don't do
very
that.
nervous.
I don't
Like,
like that. We're
you
just
gonna do
two
like
friends
that?
having a sit back.
Should
This
I
isn't a business
cross my
interview.
hands? Oh, so what do you think? We'll figure out something, but we're not gonna do that. I'm gonna do the cross them right here. That is interesting that you observe that. Do you normally pick up ticks like that when people are on the podcast?
Hmm.
Oh, that's interesting. Are you good at observing that kind of thing? Because I was like, I wouldn't have noticed that if I was talking to someone.
Yeah, I like to. I'm very good at watching people.
That's very smart. I actually like that because like you can tell a lot about someone, not just about how they're talking, but how they act when they talk. 100%. And I'm definitely not good at that part. I barely look at someone when I talk to them, but that is very impressive that you're able to observe that, and that tells me about something about myself that I didn't even know I was doing that, and that tells me something about what I was saying that I didn't even know. I felt that way when I was saying it. So that is actually really impressive.
I don't know how this will sit with your parents because I'm assuming they're going to watch this, but
Sure they
it
will.
is interesting that your parents' divorce is the one thing that caused you, well, one of two things that caused you to stop with the fidgeting,
Hmm.
but it changed the dynamics of your relationship with your dad,
Hmm.
and it also brought you and Luke to a place that you may have not got to if it wasn't for that.
100%.
And I do believe that, I think about one of my closest friends, and we met at a gym we don't normally go to, at a time we don't normally work out, on a day we don't normally work out. And when we met, he was going through a situation where
Hmm.
his dad had just killed himself, and his mom had
Mm.
died from a heart related issue. And
Damn.
one of the biggest questions I ask myself in life is, when I meet with someone like Marshall, is this a God thing? Because
Hmm.
I moved to Austin to start a podcast and went to this gym and ran into him, and now we've become very good friends.
Mm-hmm.
And there's this sequence of events that causes our lives to go on a trajectory that's the best version of ourselves. And so your
Yeah.
parents' divorce could have been a hard thing at first that was
Hmm.
very
Yeah,
awkward for several
100%.
months, but now, it could be one of the things that made you into the man you are today. And it's like,
100%.
thank
Hmm.
God they got divorced. You know what I
Definitely,
mean?
definitely. Yeah, no, 100%. And that's how I see a lot of things in life because a lot of people take it the other way to where, like, all right, negative things are just negative things and they are just bad. And that's horrible. And that makes your life kind of suck because a lot of negative things are going to happen to you in your life. But at the end of I said end of the day again. In the end, I keep wanting to, like, reference the end of something. I'm like,
And at some point, I'm going to need to try to die.
yeah, at some point, yeah. It's all about getting to that grave, man. You gotta pre-plan for that. Yeah, you gotta try and get there. It's a very difficult thing to do. But oh, I lost my train of thought. What was I gonna say?
We were talking about
Something.
situations in life that might be hard in
Situation
the
life.
moment, but
That's
then they end
right.
up being good at the.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's a lot of things like that where like I always advocate positivity. Positivity is so important. It's the only way you get through life, really, is to be positive. And I've always naturally been positive. Like where everyone else might complain or see a negative, I'm always like pretty much okay because I'm like, well, no, a positive thing is coming out of this, and I always kind of see that positive too, to the point where like it frustrates other people because they're like, no, just be negative about this, man. This is a negative thing that's happening. We're all upset about it, and I'm like, well, no, because there's this and there's that, and I'm like, okay, it's not terrible, and I'm always just kind of like positive about the whole thing, and and sometimes you do have to acknowledge like, okay, this is shitty, this sucks what's happening, but you also gotta see, you gotta play the long game and say like you said with the divorce, like it turned out. Yes, it was not great at the time, but it turned out some really good things with some closer bonding with family, with this, with that, and I was gonna say at the end of the day again. in general, you're gonna watch me stutter and then try and say another word every single time. In general, it is really important to remember that, like, okay, this is negative now, but it's gonna help you. It's gonna help you. It's gonna help you mature and grow. And even bad things that happen, they happen. I don't want to say they happen for a reason, but they do have certain outcomes that are positive. You know, and it's really important not to get upset about it. Again, bringing back to fighting, that's why like so many people flame out because they're like they lose a fight and they're like, all right, this is the end of the world. I just freaking lost this fight and it sucks. If you maybe you got beat up, beat to shit, and it's terrible and they think, okay, this is the end of the world. Like, I just lost this. This is not how I saw it coming out, and this is not how I wanted it to happen, and this sucks. And compounded by, like, how you think your friends now see you, how your family now sees you. It's all in your mind, but how you now think people see you is they think you're a loser. Like, that's how you see it in your mind. But then that's where the positivity needs to come in. We're like, okay, no, they don't think I'm a loser just because I lost a fight. I'm branding that on myself. I'm a loser if I call myself a loser, not if other people call me that. And it's not a negative thing. Like there's positives to losing a fight too. Okay, I did learn. I know it sounds cliche to say it, but I did learn something about that. I did learn what I did poorly, what I did bad, what I did good. I learned how to take a loss. I learned, okay, I need to be a little bit more driven on this next fight. I need to, watch what I eat a little more, this, that. And so there are positives that I think that come out of most any negative. Like, not for a lot of stuff, but for things that we just kind of make negative in our minds that aren't necessarily terrible. I think we need to see that more so as, like, okay, this isn't horrible. I'm making this horrible. I'm doing this mostly to myself. Like, it's crazy the amount of pain we kind of put ourselves through as humans because we're doing it to ourselves. And we see things externally how we want to see them. And it's weird that we can't do that positively a lot of times because a lot of times we see things in a negative way when they're not really that way. When we could just flip that and just say, like, I'm going to flip a switch and make this positive, and make my life a little bit easier for that. And so, what was I saying? So bringing it back, yeah, I think it's really important to be positive, and if more people were positive, you'd probably go a lot further in life too, with whatever it is you pursue. Hmm.
Who do you want to shout out before we wrap up today?
Ooh, let's see. Because I've attributed to the gym so much, shout out to I already kind of did it, but Black Widow MMA. Because they are an incredible gym. Recently expanded. We're expanding again we're knocking out a wall, making it even bigger.
Heck yeah.
Hell yeah, because it's growing all the time. And so shout out to them. I'm a assistant coach there. I teach kids classes, I teach adults classes, and you'll see me around. And so give me a shout out when you're there. Say you listen to the podcast. Let's see. Shout out to all my friends, family, everyone that kind of made me who I am. We already did that throughout the podcast, but shout out to everyone I mentioned. Let's see. Shout out, I mentioned him before, but Johnny Gonzalez. He is one of our pro fighters at Blackwood MMA. Shout out to him for giving me such a good perspective on life because besides being a pro fighter, he's a very intelligent person, very well read, and he can go on. He's one of those people that I wish I could talk like him because he knows how to talk. Like he's someone that can probably by himself talk for like a half hour with one word prompt. And sometimes, not to put him down, sometimes it's a little boring, but most of the time it's quite interesting stuff. And he is such a good mindset on life and positivity and me versus me mentality and this and that. And so I want to give him a shout out for just making me a better person and think about a lot of things. Because, like, again, I came into it positive, but he gave me more positivity. He's coached me through losses. He's coached me through wins. He's helped me figure out what it's like to do that in life and in fighting. And I want to say last Saturday we had dinner, me, him, another guy, Vipin, and those two know like more about psychology and mentality than I ever know. So for about 4 hours, I was sitting there saying nothing as they just talked about like life and everything that had to do with it. And so I really attribute a lot to kind of what I know now to what I've kind of picked up from watching him and listening to him. And because, like I said, besides being a fighter, he's a very well-rounded person. And I think it's important that you surround yourself with well-rounded people and good people because you are, like I said, you're a sponge. You're going to pick up, whether you want to or not, from what people give you and what their personalities give you. You're going to pick up little traits from everybody. And so to be surrounded by good people like him who give me a little bit of this, and then my coach and my friends there, they can give me a little bit of that. People at work that have positive attitudes, my friends that have good things they can share with me. And so, just pretty much everyone I know, because I surround myself with positive people, I want to give them a shout out because they've all kind of made me who I am today.
It's funny that you say, I wish I could talk like him, because we've been sitting here for 3 hours, and all I have asked you is about 7 to 10 questions where
That's
I
true.
said, talk to me about insert subject.
That's true. That's
And
true.
you filled up 90% of the conversation today, which is what you're supposed to do.
Did.
So you said, I wish I could talk like him, and you already do.
Well, I mean, how could I phrase it better? I think it's mainly, maybe not in general. I think I don't have. Okay, how about this? I don't have the general confidence to talk like him. Because you're right. You shine a light on that. Like I am actually talking like him right now. Like how I hear him talk, I feel myself talking like that, and it feels awesome. But in general, I don't usually have the confidence or feel like I have the know-how to talk like this, like I'm talking on the podcast in general. Because like I never want to sound like a know-it-all. I never want to sound like I know something more than someone else. Because you can learn something from everyone, and so I never try and talk too much. People say I talk a lot, so I feel like sometimes I also try and tone down the amount that I talk. But I guess you're right. I do talk like him, and you know what? I'm gonna try and talk more like him because he is someone I admire, and I'm gonna, try and put my own spin on it.
That's interesting that I try to give you credit for something right now, and you immediately rebutted it.
Exactly right. That's like it's like something with the human condition. We're all self-deprecating, and I felt it as I was saying it. I was like, why am I not taking a compliment right now? Like, what the hell? But that is a sign, I think, of a not to now I'm gonna give myself compliments, but like a humble and kind of you know confident person, because it takes a confident. Well, there's a little bit of self doubt in there and stuff, but like it takes both a confident person and kind of a like humble little self doubting person to like rebut a confident. An egotistical person is like, oh hell yeah, you're right. But someone who's more humble is always gonna be like, oh stop it, no please, like seriously, like I don't, no, I'm not like that. I guess I am, even if they agree with you. Like it's hard to take. Sometimes it's harder to take a compliment than an insult. Have you ever had that?
Mm-hmm.
Where like someone is praising you and you like actually feel more uncomfortable than if they were actually like berating you in a situation. Maybe not more uncomfortable, but so that is something I always try and work on. That's why sometimes I try and almost emulate like an alter ego where I'm like almost like a egomaniac, where it's like people will compliment me and I try and switch into this mindset where like, well, why can't I take this compliment? It's probably true. It's probably they're not saying it to bullshit me. They're giving me a genuine compliment. So I try and turn an egotistical guy and be like, you know what, you're right. Yeah, you're right. And also this other thing I'm also really good at, and blah 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 blah. So I think that's where it's important to be able to flip a switch and be like, okay, you don't have to be this guy every time, but just take the compliment, say something nice back, say thank you, and then accept that, because that also gets you pretty far. Is to be able to like take praise. It's so weird how sometimes you're not able to do that. Like again with fighting, like you win a fight, you feel great about it, but then you're not able to be like, yeah, I did good. You're right. Thank you for praising me. Can you stop praising me now? Because it's making me uncomfortable. But you have to flip in that other mindset of like, no, you earned it. Take the praise. Be helpful to yourself. Love yourself, and like be able to compliment yourself like that. Because we want to be able to doubt ourselves and say like, well, no, you don't deserve that. You didn't do anything crazy. But in the end of the day, you did. You did something that helps you, that makes you feel good, and people are praising you for it. So you got to be able to take that in stride, and like if I compliment you for the podcast, how do you feel? Like if I said, dude, this podcast is amazing, it's the best podcast I've ever had, it's incredible, like how do you feel about that? Do you feel uncomfortable? I mean, I know I'm saying it jokingly, but like do you generally like having compliments about your podcast?
I love it.
Yeah, yeah. See that, because you have that mindset, and that's kind of why you're successful at it too, because you're able to block out the negativity to an extent, but you're also able to take the compliments about it. You're able to take like, all right, I am doing a good job. You're not like just like, well, I messed up on this and that, and then this could have been better, and this. That's necessary, but you also got to be able to be like, no, you're right. I am doing a good job. Let me keep doing a good job. You're right. You're not just bullshitting me. Like, let me take that internally and use that for the podcast. So, I think it's all my shout outs, and then I'm gonna shout out me because I'm awesome too. So if you want to be friends with me, I'm open. Um, this is gonna be like me searching for a friend too. I'm gonna be like, hey, I'm a very friendly guy. If you wanna be my friend, I have my phone number. I'll leave a link to my Instagram. Blah blah blah. And do you find you meet a lot of people that listen to the podcast?
A few.
A few people every once in a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what your demographic is. I'm sure I don't know, but like I'm sure you run into a couple people here and there that like your voice sounds familiar, like that kind of thing.
Yeah, one of the ones that was fun was I had to interview someone for a job, and she specifically requested that we meet over Zoom or Microsoft Teams versus a phone call.
Mm.
And I didn't think anything of it. I said okay, and I sent her a link. And when we jumped on the call, she was like,
Mm.
"I don't know how this is going to sit with you, but when I saw your name, I thought that name looks really familiar." And then I went for my morning run, and I turned on David's Saturday Night Sit Back, and then I was like, "Oh shit,
Ah,
I'm meeting that David." Like
that's
and
awesome.
that felt really good. And
That
she
is
lives
really
out of
cool.
Atlanta, and I see all the stats for where people listen, so I already
Mhm.
knew we had listeners in Atlanta. But it was cool. That was a really cool moment to
That is
meet
really
someone
cool.
that every morning when she goes running, that's what she's listening to.
I mean, that's awesome, and it like the someone has such a connection with you, but you've never met that person, and then it's this weird thing of like, oh, they know you so well, and you're just getting to meet them, but they like admire you for what you're doing. That is pretty sick and awesome. So I compliment you in that way, man. You're doing a good job here. You got a good setup, and I really enjoyed being on the podcast. So thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. One
Yeah,
more thing before we end,
please.
or two more things. Another funny one that just happened 4 or 5 days ago. Someone that I'm aware of, but we've never really met. He comes up to me in the gym and he says, "Hey, is it just as scary for you to hit on men as it is for straight men to hit on women?"
Hmm.
And that was a funny
Interesting.
interaction too with
Yeah.
someone I've never met, and I'm like,
I,
okay, I guess we're going there. But I was like, yeah, I think it's scary for anyone to
Mhm.
walk up to someone that you find attractive and shoot your shot and hope
100%.
it works
Yeah.
out for the best.
Yeah.
That's terrifying. No,
I was,
man, woman, it doesn't matter. I
yeah.
don't think that scares everyone.
100%. I was like, the fact that you think it's any different, like, no, you're going up to someone that you think is attractive. You're like, all right, I'm gonna try. Like you said, I'm gonna shoot my shot. Like, it's scary no matter what. It's funny. He just wanted your input. He just wanted
Yeah,
he just like
he didn't introduce himself or anything. He just walked up and started talking,
he
and I
just
was like, and that was a funny thing too. Was you forget sometimes when you, or at least for me, having a podcast or you just forget like there's so much information about you out there
Mhm.
online
Yeah.
that people can come up and ask such a specific question, and it took me a second
Yeah.
to register like, okay, there's a lot going on here. I don't know this person, and
Yeah.
but I just roll with it. It's fun.
That must be a little weird to have total strangers know something about you and then talk to you like they know you, and then you're like, dude, I don't even know, who are you? What's your name? Why are you asking me these questions? Are you a stalker? What's happening? Like, I bet it feels almost creepy sometimes, but like, yeah, I mean, if they're nice people, I'm sure it's not a problem.
He was
Yeah.
really cool. He gave
Okay.
off a strong first impression, so
Okay.
that was good. I have a thank you gift for you coming on the show today.
I think you have a gift. I didn't get you anything, man.
That's
Should I?
okay.
Okay. All right. I'll bring you something next time. I'll bring you a chessboard. We're gonna play chess.
If you meet up with me and we can play chess, that is a gift good enough for me.
Awesome. What is this thing you have for me, sir?
Dylan, I just want to say thank you for being my best friend and always being there for me. It's crazy to think we've been friends for a decade now. I can't wait to see what you do going into the future. I know it's going to be great with some crazy adventures along the way. Thank you for always being my best friend no matter what. I can't wait for what the future holds for you. Keep being you, your friend, Parker.
Oh my gosh. I'm not gonna lie, that hit me emotionally. That hit me. I actually started to tear up a little bit at that, cause I mean, what is this? What is it? What is this? Wow. That is incredible. You had it framed. You had it framed. He framed the great words that one of my best friend said to me. Wow. Do you emotionally ambush everyone like this? 'Cause you just got me. You just tried to get an emotional reaction from me, and it's working. My God, wow. I genuinely started to tear up a little bit at that because I never talk to my friends that way, even though it's unspoken. We know it. I never said that to my friends. They never say it to me, but we just know it. To hear something like that from someone I'm so close to is actually for you to frame it too. That's very forethought of you. I appreciate that. Man, that is incredible. Did you had that planned? You had that planned. You hit me so hard with that. I don't cry at anything. I don't tear up at anything. Like I've been to no one I know, but I've been to funerals, I've been to this, I've had sad things happen. I don't have that emotional reaction. It's just I internalize things differently. That made me want to tear up for a second. I got a little scared that I was you're gonna see a single tear roll down my face, and people are gonna be like, "Oh my God, he's crying," because I think friendship is definitely such a strong bond. It is such a strong bond. People say family is the strongest bond, but friends are the family you get to pick, and I think it's important to have that deeper connection with people that you chose, because like he said, I've been friends for a decade, and yet because we're such good friends, and we're dudes and we're uncomfortable with emotions, we never it's true we never say anything like that. So to actually hear that from one of my best friends is actually, and then to have it framed forever, that's actually pretty awesome. I actually thank you for that. That was really cool.
You're welcome, man.
Appreciate you, man.
I have a final thought before you go.
Please.
You're a fighter.
I am.
You were in a chess club for 6 years.
I am indeed.
You were homeschooled.
Yes, sir.
You love Dungeons and Dragons.
Love it. Everyone should play.
You're friends with older people.
I am.
The things that make you comfortable are unexpected.
Mm-hmm.
You have a female coach.
Oh, yeah.
You enjoy being bored.
I do. It's very important.
Oftentimes, when someone has a lot of things going on in their life that go against the stereotype of a fighter, in this example,
Yeah.
those are indicators that you're a high agency operator.
Really?
High agency operators happen to life. Low agency operators, life happens to me. Much more of the victim mentality.
Interesting.
So I'm really grateful to know you and to
Yeah.
see where your life goes, because I think that you are more than likely a high agency operator. You already have that entrepreneurial bug. You know, you want to build something. You know what you want it to last. You know that you want it to have an impact on people.
Yes.
And so my mandate for you that has been top of mind for me recently as I talk with some of my younger friends is don't overthink. Change your mentality to don't wait. Take action on what you think is right as quickly as you possibly can. If there is some sort of social fallback to it, you can cross that bridge when it comes. But I think if you listen to your gut and you operate on what you think is right and you lead with integrity, you're going to have a pretty damn good life. And when those hard days do come, if you need someone to sit in the mud with you, you have my address, you have my phone number, and I'm here for you.
I appreciate you, man. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Man, that was a good time. That was really good. That was very good. You did. You ambushed me emotionally. at the
You
end.
emotionally
You got
ambush
me.
people.
You do.
Yes, I do.
You do. I obviously missed that part on the other podcast. I did not. I skipped that part too. Because dang.
That's sort of why I want people to not listen.
Yeah.
To call back to earlier is because if they listen to one of the episodes all the way through,
Yeah.
they're going to know that they're going to get that verbal message from their friend and they're going to get the frame message. And so
Yeah.
that's why I'm almost inclined to tell people, like, just don't worry about it. Don't tune
100%.
in. You don't need to research anything. Just
I
show
honestly,
up.
yeah. I honestly did not see that coming. I was like, he has a gift for me. What is he talking about? And I was like, the audio started coming on and like, oh man, that is really good. And you made all those notes while we were talking. That is also very impressive.
Thank you.
Very impressive. That you jotted all those little things down. I was like, and then you were able to put it into the end segment. That was really good. Honestly,
Excellent.
yeah. To give you another compliment, hopefully you're not uncomfortable.
I'm not. I love it.
Awesome.
Give me all the positive affirmations
Yeah,
that
man.
you want.
Yeah,
you're lighting me up like you're just throwing logs in the fire of David's soul right now.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, no, it's really, you've done a professional job with this, and I'm really happy I came on. This is a really good job you're doing here.
Thank you, man. I
100%.
appreciate it so much. You want to get
Yeah.
our Mother's Day started?
Let's get our mother's. I gotta go see my mother. Is probably the first thing I should do, and then I get to tell her about the podcast and everything we talked about. I feel like this was like therapy. This was like
Cool.
good for me, honestly. Because like I said, I like, as much as I love to talk, I don't talk a whole lot. I'm more someone that listens. So like to be able to just talk about everything going on in my life for a couple hours is actually pretty sick. I'm not gonna lie. It helps me out a lot. I think more people should be. I think that's pretty much what therapy is. So I think that's what I should be doing more of. Oh God.
I like that you just wrapped up your thought with
That's a good way to end anything. Yeah, yeah. It makes me sound confident what I just said. Right? You heard that. It's very smart.
Yes.
Oh God, but I think I'm tapped out. I think anything I say from now on is just gonna be bullshit.
Let's end it.
Man.
I'll end it. To
Go
all the
ahead.
mothers out there, this episode will come out a couple weeks after Mother's Day, but I think it's worth saying on the day of. You guys play a very important role and maybe have one of the hardest jobs in the world is to raise kids and hope that they come out like Dylan here. And, you know, they're I already said all the compliments. So what I said
You can
3
say
minutes
more.
ago.
You can say more. It's okay.
So
I'm taking it in stride like you are, so you can say whatever you like if you'd like to repeat it. Go ahead. Go ahead. All right.
handsome, thoughtful,
Thoughtful,
articulate,
articulate,
strategic,
yeah,
high
smart.
agency operator.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So keep doing your thing, moms. We need you.
Yes.
To the audience, I need you to do something for me. That will
Oh.
only take about 10 seconds of your time. It won't cost you any money. If you watched on YouTube today, subscribe to the channel. If you listened on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, please follow the podcast. The only cost that this is going to associate to you is that every Saturday morning at 10 a.m., you're going to get one push notification. No big deal. The impact that this will have, though, is that you will help spread this episode to whoever needed to have some fuel added to their fire today. And we don't know where that person is in life. And this episode could be the crux between them taking their life by the horns and getting off social media to step into the ring for the first time or not. So it means a lot to me. With that being said, I hope you guys stay healthy, stay happy, and we'll see you next Saturday for another episode on David's Saturday Night Sit Back. Bye, everyone.